Hi, I'm Aaron, and welcome to the Slim, Fitty, and Biggie Committee podcast, where me and my best friends, Danny and Matt, take a deep dive into hip hop, the genre that has formed an integral part of our lives. Please like, subscribe, and follow us on Instagram at _Slim, Fitty, Biggie Committee, and stay tuned for any upcoming podcast news. Coming up on today's show, we have Stormzy's much hyped album, Gang Signs and Prayer. All right, let's get into it. Stormzy's, what's it called? Gang Signs and Prayer.
Have you listened to this yet, or what? What's going on?
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah.
You know how the title is Gang Signs and Prayer? Don't you think, or didn't you think at like some point during reviewing this, it would have been better if it was Gang Signs and Prayers rather than like...
Yes.
Oh, it's such a nitpicky thing, but I feel like if it was Gang Signs and Prayers, it would have sounded better.
I agree with you. I've always thought throughout the whole thing that it's Gang Signs and Prayers.
Yeah.
But turns out it's not. It just doesn't. Yeah. There's just something about, to me, that it just feels nicer when you add the S on.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. 100%. But I think I'll kick this one off because... shout out to my man Stormzy, because today, which is the 26th of July, it is actually his bloody birthday today. It's his 27th birthday today. So shout out to Stormzy. Happy birthday, mate. Hope you are.
This is his birthday gift.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He was born on the 26th of July, 1993. So, hope you have a great birthday, Stormzy.
Can I just say, I love that. I love that so much that you know that.
True fan, repping, innit?
Well, why'd you choose this one, Matt?
Okay. Well, I think it's pretty clear, like, why I chose this one. Like, obviously, living in London now, I'm sort of surrounded by Brits, to be honest, and I just hear like that accent, which is in some areas like so strong. So it's like become like, initially it was a shock, and I don't know, I didn't know how I felt about it, but now I've gotten more and more used to it. I've noticed lately I'm starting to pick up different like words, like a tourist or someone from here wouldn't know. So it's like I'm starting to connect a little bit more with it sounds so funny when I say like the language, because like we're literally speaking English, like it's like the same language we all speak, but like it has, you know how like we have slang, like in Australia we have like different slang words. It's the same here. So I chose this album because I was like, well, I'm living in London. I'm surrounded by like the culture that comes with London, and I feel like it is time for me to choose an album that reflects that. And like, who better to choose than Stormzy? Because I don't think even arguably, I think he is, in terms of buzz anyway at the moment, he is the biggest hip hop. I'm going to say hip hop artist because I'm going to call grime correct me if I'm wrong, either of you. Grime's like a genre within like hip hop. I say hip hop is like a big like overarching genre, but like he's the biggest grime artist in London at the moment.
Yeah, he's definitely like worldwide. Like everybody knows him.
Yeah.
Like there's other big names, but I reckon he's the biggest at the moment for sure.
Yeah. And I think a lot of that's come from the success of this album in particular, but also I think his newest album, Heavy as the Head, is doing quite well as well. So I think, yeah, it basically it stemmed from interest in wanting to hear what London like is bringing to the table in terms of like a hip hop / grime album. And I thought I want to start with like the best, or what London sees as the best right now. So yeah, that's why I chose Stormzy.
That's fair. Danny, what do you know about Stormzy?
Not a hell of a lot, to be honest. I definitely don't know his birthday. I don't know. I went through a grime phase once upon a time, and like I got into Stormzy a tiny, tiny bit. Like I maybe had one or two songs, but this was like maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. So he was still like a young dude in the game. And so I was listening more to Wiley, I was listening to Skepta, I was listening to JME, and I think Stormzy was just coming up and he had a few like hot songs at the time. And obviously didn't blow up until a few years later. But like I have a tiny bit of experience with this stuff and not a lot. So this was like the first time listening to an entire Stormzy project for me.
Yeah, I'm the same. I think I went through a little bit where I liked grime as well. I just like the accent. So I went through it and Skepta was probably the big one for me. I really liked his album Konnichiwa.
Yeah. Shut down. That's not me and it's shut down. Bring pussy.
Shut down.
That's it.
But it had some bangers on there. I just liked it. But it is definitely a different sound. A grime sound is very different, like UK hip hop. It's like a particular type of music that you have to get used to.
Yeah. And like on that album Konnichiwa, that was the other one that I was tossing up to review. Because even while I was listening to this album and watching interviews at the same time, that album was continually talked about in interviews. Like Konnichiwa apparently is like pretty fantastic. Like, and I think it's won a lot of awards as well. So after listening to this, I would definitely be inclined to listen to Konnichiwa. But I get the sense that Konnichiwa, having not listened to it, is more of a grime album than this would be considered a grime album. Like, it's even questionable to, like, Stormzy even said, I'll say it now, Stormzy even said himself in an interview I watched that he wouldn't consider this album a grime album. He would say there is grime in this album. However, he has influences in other areas of music, such as, gospel music that he is passionate about. So therefore, he has said himself that if you want a pure grime album, this isn't it. But you will get grime songs on here. So I think the term grime, as Stormzy alludes to sort of what he believes grime is quite fluid, and grime's something that he is trying to evolve and make something different out of for a new generation of listeners. So I think he's essentially, with this album, or with his intentions, are to make grime more accessible to the mainstream. I think that's what his aim is, or one of his aims.
So do you think it's a good time to discuss what grime is? Because a lot of people probably don't know what it is.
I think it is absolutely a perfect time.
Well, let's do it then.
Did you want to go? Because I'm sure you did research into it, Matt.
Look, I spoke to a few people because, this guy I know who's from here, actually originally from France, but then moved here and has been living here for a long time now. He is into grime music, and he a lot older stuff. We're talking Wiley era. And he was saying that grime originates from dance/garage music. So I literally don't even know what garage music is, or I know what dance music is, but no idea what garage music is. So it comes from one area of music that I have no idea of anything about it, and the other which I associate with festivals, or I don't know, clubs, that sort of music. So
it's kind of hip hop, R&B, club beats, pop. It's a mix of all of that is what UK garage is known for. Okay. It's 1990s UK garage.
Yeah. What about you, Danny? Did you know anything else about grime?
I think that's about as much as I knew, that it started from garage music, and I don't even know what that is. But it's got this kind of it's strange. It's an electronic sound to it, and then I don't know, somehow they evolved to start rhyming on those beats, and it turned into grime. I don't really know much though.
Yeah.
it's one of those ones where we're aware of it. We just don't know that much about it. But I read the other day that apparently that like it's got rapid beats and it's supposed to have around about 140 beats a minute.
Yeah.
Quite
So
fast.
like, yeah, very fast. And so I think we'll see that in this album of like, you know, more of the grime style tracks. But within my review, I've purely reviewed this as a hip hop album. Like as much as I didn't know Stormzy said that it wasn't as much like grimy, but I've reviewed it on purely, he's a grime artist. I'm going to review it as grime tracks on what I would expect in that type of album and just purely what I want to listen to.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I didn't know until after I'd listened to it, I think multiple times, that I didn't know his thoughts on this album and what his intentions were. So then once I knew that, the album, like my thoughts on the album changed because I knew what he intended it to be. However, if you are reviewing it as like a hip-hop album, then like I feel like this is the type of album that's going to get very mixed reviews from like hip hop fans because it is so diverse in what it like brings. So yeah, I'm interested. I'm interested to see what you boys think.
Same.
So how did you guys review it? Did you review it on a hip hop basis or just on what you like? Like, what was your thought process behind it?
Well, that's all I know. All I know is hip hop. So that's my only frame of reference is hip hop music. So I guess I'm the same as you. But like, there are clearly songs on here that have nothing to do with hip hop.
Yeah.
And I guess I tried to be fair, but I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I reviewed it from like a pure enjoyment standpoint, whether I liked the song or I didn't. Like,
yeah, same. I guess I'm the same as well.
Yeah. But I also considered the intention of the album once I knew it. Because that's something we haven't really talked about before. It's like, and maybe because we don't always know what the artist is intending, but like, I don't know, like, let's use Relapse as an example. Like, we know Eminem's spoken on that, the fact that his intention was to have fun with accents on that album. And if you look at it purely from that standpoint, I feel like he definitely achieved what he had set out to do because there was a lot of accents on there. It was like different. For some people, like it might have been quite fun and they would have loved it. For other people, they might not have. But at least he has said, I'm going to do accents on this album. That's what you're going to hear. So if you don't like it, well, it's sort of like, it excuses it if you don't like it because like he said what he's going to do. So maybe more artists should do that. Maybe that spoils it. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think the critique is as long as you review it on what you like just because you do it doesn't mean it's good, if that makes sense. Like, I think just if you like it, fair enough. But at the same time, just because you're trying something doesn't mean you should lose the integrity of your music. Like, it still has to be good. So you can't excuse not I tried something in this album and I did all those things, but it just didn't deliver. Much like, do you review a superhero movie as a superhero movie or do you review it as a movie?
Yeah. And at the end of the day, like, music is art and, you know, art is open to interpretation. Like, even if an artist, musician intends for something to be something very specific, as a viewer, as a listener, you can interpret it however you want. And that's the truth for you.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. Good points. Very good points.
Well, shall we get into it?
I think
Let's do it.
Well, Matt, your album, you should probably kick this off. First things first, track 1, Stormzy, Gang Signs and Prayer. I'm excited to hear what you thought of the first track.
Can I say, I think, first of all, Stormzy set you up for a seamless transition into the first track with the title.
Yeah.
He definitely did. I need that from more hip-hop artists.
Yeah. We need an album that just goes, the track listing is track number 1, track number 2.
Or first things first, second things first, third things first. Yeah, like third things third.
Yeah.
Something very simple. It will make my life easy. Or like one word songs. One word songs I can also handle. But when they're long phrases, it's really tough.
I wonder, Danny, if Aaron, like, prior to like recording, he looks through the track list and like plans out a little like every track. He's like, right, all right, what have I got coming up? All right, how am I going to weave?
I don't think he does, but I think it would be funny if he did.
Sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. And most times I don't. I like to see if I can come up with it on the spot.
Yeah.
And as we've learnt from our other podcasts, it doesn't pay off at all.
Oh, God. All right, first things first. I'm not even going to like beat around the bush with this. This is like, for me, this is a 5-star track. This is fire. Like, he has come out the gate, like, just absolutely like spitting, like just being like aggressive, being like, it's almost like he's commanding your attention with this song. It's like it draws you in. We talked about how Michi Darko does that with his lyrics. I think Stormzy has a voice not similar to Michi Darko, but he has a commanding voice, and I think that's shown on this track. Smaller details that I like from this is I like I don't know, you probably both noticed it. I don't know if you read into it too much, but like the thunderstorm effects happening at the very beginning of this track in the background. I associated that with like a storm is coming, or like Stormzy's coming. Like, I thought that was like a nice touch. Seeing this is his very first album, I was like, okay, like,
I didn't even get that. That makes a lot of sense, bro. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And I think like that's also why I liked it, because it wasn't super obvious, but if you looked into it, you'd be like, okay, I like that. That's cool. And like, also, if a storm's coming, usually you associate like thunder, lightning, loud noises, like fast-paced things. Like, and I think that suits well with this track. The instrumental's hard. Like, it's a banger. I love it. The keyboard and the drum combination, as well as the multiple drops throughout the song, like, that gets me. Like, I think we talked about this on another podcast. Like, are you a beat person? Are you a versus, like, a lyrics person? Are you a hook person? Like, first and foremost, I think I'm a beat person. I think that's what gets me. So I like this beat, so I'm automatically going to like the track, unless the verses are absolute garbage. But like I said, he goes hard, and I like the content. My favorite lyrics on this track are LBC's trying to blackball me and trying to blame your boy for knife crime. Like, what? I don't use a shank. I got money in the bank. Man, I'd rather do a drive-by, dickheads.
Yeah.
That was just funny. Like, funny, but also aggressive at the same time. So it was like, I definitely liked that. I also don't mind there being no hook to this song. I don't think it needs it. And I think my last point is on those lyrics that I chose. I'm just pulling them up. I actually tried to do something different while I was listening to this this album. I didn't look at Genius until the very end. Like, I tried to.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. So I was like, I just tried to take it in, but then when you do look at the lyrics and they're explained to you, like, you definitely pick up on other things. You're like, okay, that's cool. So LBC is leading Britain's conversation. So it's a talk, like, radio station. And essentially in 2016, they said that grime music, or artists who are involved in grime music, like Stormzy, Skepta, and Wiley, are essentially encouraging knife crime. Or encouraging the problem in London, which is a huge thing. And I remember when I first moved over here, I saw so many posters, even at the cinemas, like, there were ads about, like, knife crime and how, like, you know.
So specific.
Yeah. It's just like something I didn't understand. I was like, yeah, well, there are, like, stabbings happen all the time in, like, Melbourne, but, like, apparently it's on, like, a different level here. It's like you'd associate it with, like, not associate, but you connect it with, like, gun crime in America. Apparently it's that big.
Apparently, in Melbourne, it's nunchuck crime. Nunchuck crime is insane over here.
What
are you talking? Really?
Everyone's running around with nunchucks. It's insane.
I can't tell if you're joking or not.
Of course, I'm joking. Don't you live in Melbourne? Have you ever heard of nunchuck? What the hell? Move on.
Oh no, you just said it so factually that I was like, "Have I been living under a bridge?"
Imagine nunchuck crime. Just a gang of karate kids running around nunchucking people. You idiot.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Matt, back me up. The way he said it.
Yeah, I was falling for it as well. I thought, and nunchucks, like, they're quite hard. Like, they're usually like a solid. So, like, if you knew what to do with them, like, you could definitely hurt someone with them.
Yeah, I was just like, I guess they could be easier to get.
Yeah. It's a rampant problem here in Melbourne. Yeah.
Anyway, back to the issue at hand. I like those lyrics because, like, they're relevant to what's happening, like, here. Not that I personally, thankfully, have seen it, but, like, in that's the thing about London. Like, you literally go 5 minutes down the road and you're in a completely different, like, demographic in terms of the area. So it's like, I do believe there is that problem there, and I think it's topical of Stormzy to, like, admit that and also fire back at someone who said that his music is encouraging knife crime, because it's like some, like, inverted commas gangsters might think, yeah, I listen to grime, I carry a knife, I'm hard, but he's trying to say that his music is not responsible for that. It's sort of like what Eminem in early days Eminem said about, you know, what people said about his music and the things that encouraged them to do. Well, it's like, no, that's your choice. You go out and you do that, but it's not my music telling you to do that. Like,
yeah, this has been going on for years. Same with movies and video games. And everything. Like, everyone tries to blame everything for violence, and it's all a cop out.
Yeah. But last time I checked, there was violence way before this technology even came out. Like,
exactly.
You know, I could point 100 years ago, and I guarantee there was the kind of violence that is, like, way worse, that wasn't inspired by grime or hip hop. So the whole argument kind of falls flat. Like, it's entertainment. If you're going to blame hip hop, you've got to blame every violent movie that's on, like, you know, goes out in cinemas, every violent TV show. Like, it's just nitpicking. They're just picking a genre they don't understand and having a go at it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But I think that's really all I have to say on First Things First. I think I said it's 5 stars for me. And yeah, I loved it. If there's more of this, like, to come, then this is, like, what I would want to hear on this album. And although I have a very limited understanding of grime, as, like, an introduction to this album and thinking it's a grime album, I'm thinking, okay, well, if this is grime, then I think I like grime.
Yeah.
You want me to go, do you?
I always want you to go.
Okay. Well, I'm sure we're all going to have the same opinion on this one, to be honest. And I'll say this, like, the first time I heard this song, like, as soon as it was over, I immediately had to rewind that shit and play that shit again. It was so good. Like, this beat, Matt said it's a banger. This is a slapper. This beat slaps. This is a slapposaurus rex. Like, and you said it was keyboards, did you? Like, I was trying to figure out what it was, what instrument was making that. So, yeah, makes sense. And I just love that shit so much. And like you said, Stormzy is going hard. He's spitting those gangster bars. You picked the bars I wanted to say. Yeah. But there's another moment, just a funny moment, where he says, running through my strip, rappers jumping on my dick just to build up a report. And then in the background, you can hear him say, that's embarrassing. And I'm like, I always have a little giggle at that. Like, it's a nice touch. It's like something Eminem would do, you know, when there's, like, little character moments in the background that have nothing to do with, like, the lyrics. Although this does. But yeah, this was just, like, the best possible way to start the album. And this is, 5 stars for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I was just like, that is nasty dog. This is a nasty dog track. he's got you going, oh yeah, that grr, that's what you want. That like, pumps you up, and like just the beat drops, like, oh, it's just hard. It's grimy. You feel aggressive, and that's what he wanted to get out of this song. Like he said in interviews that he wanted something that was unapologetic, that was raw, a punch in the face, and he bloody did it. He bloody did it. It was clean, crisp. His voice sounds really good, and the content here was also really good. He was talking about his depression, his hiatus from hip hop, all that shit, and some absolutely banging lines. And I love that, that echo in the back, like you were saying, Danny. It's embarrassing. Like, and Matt in that line, Matt, I'd rather do a drive-by. Dickheads. Like that in the background, it just adds that effect. But like I had a couple of other lines that you guys didn't choose, but I had look the devil in his face like, motherfucker, do your worst. And a coloured brother with a bone to pick, but I still get to gunning. Don't be running when I bang mine. Before we said our prayers, there were gang signs.
Yeah, that's
like
cool.
That is so hard, and I love how that goes back to the album, the title of this album. So I love those.
I should have said that. That I remember hearing that and being like, that is like, how I'm a sucker for like good starts to an album and going back to the title, or just a really nice transition to the next song. That is a great line to finish this song. But he even says it himself, before we said our prayers. That's plural. Then make your bloody album title plural as well.
Yeah, agreed. But not enough for me to even get close to reducing this. Yeah, this is 5 stars. This shit is nasty, dog. And I remember listening to this and going, I'm bloody excited. I am bloody excited.
Same.
This is how you start an album.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it was just cold.
No. Saw that coming a mile away. There was an awkward silence, and I knew an awkward transition was coming. So
I thought someone would say something else so that I could chime in.
Mate, no one's going to save you, Aaron. No one's going to save you.
You saved me once last week. I thought I was
Not again. Never again.
We don't even need to talk about it. I just want to say, I think it's really cool when we all review an album that none of us have listened to, like, because like while we're listening to it, I'm thinking, I wonder what like the boys are thinking of this track or that track, or I'll get to a track and I'll be like, oh my God, I know exactly what both of them are thinking about this track, like good or bad. Like, I just, it's a cool experience because it's like, I hadn't heard this album before, you hadn't, like we all hadn't. So it's like, it's just a fresh experience for all of us. Someone was saying to me the other day, who like, I discovered he was like into hip hop as well. He's a lot older than me. But like, it's funny how when someone discovers that, it's like automatically there's like this like head nod. It's like there's this connection. It's like, I know you like what I like, and it's sort of a little bit niche, although it's becoming more, hip hop's becoming bigger now, I think. But where was I going with this? He was sort of, he was sharing with me like different music that I said I hadn't listened to, or even documentaries to watch and things like that. And he said to me something that I think Danny said to us before, Aaron. He's like, oh, I wish I had never listened to this album and I was able to listen to it for the first time because it is so good. Like, I think we were talking about, what were we talking about?
Bush Zombies, I think.
No, he was talking about MF Doom, and he was talking about Mad Villainy. And I said, why does that ring a bell? And I was like, hold on, I feel like Danny's recommended this before, because he showed me the album artwork and it was the guy with like a mask on, and I was like, is that right? Have you shown me that before, Danny?
I was thinking about that for this podcast, but it'd be a weird one.
Okay.
Yeah, I probably have.
Well, anyway, this guy was like, he said that MF Doom is like one of his favorites, if not like favorite rappers, and he was like, I wish that I hadn't listened to this yet and was able to listen to it for the first time. It's just cool. It's a cool like concept when we're all listening to something for the first time.
Yeah. And you're at that stage where literally every single hip-hop album ever made is going to be a first time for you.
Cheers.
Yeah, I like it too.
That was absolutely cold.
That is a transition. That is a transition.
You guys have been bad boys, very bad boys.
Oh, we're skipping. Are we skipping along? Oh.
No, I just had to get it in. All right.
Now you don't have to transition for track 3.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, okay, let's go.
let's go. Track 2.
Aaron, you're getting a bit too big for your boots, mate. Come on.
I've had too many cigarettes and Kolsch, to be honest.
Oh, God.
Keep going.
All right, shut up. All right.
You've done it.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to kick this one off. Track 2, Cold. This is what I think of when I think of a grime beat. Like, the last one was kind of grimy-esque, but this is like that high tempo. It's got a very unique sound. It's like you can't really describe it. Like, throughout this whole album, all the grimy beats, I have trouble like describing what they do because they just have like this electronic sound. I'm not used to describing it, but what I do like is like heavy drums here. It's completely different though from boom bap that we generally look at and talk about. Yeah. So if you've never listened to grime, highly recommend because it's just different. But I will say in this track, the first verse outshines the second.
Okay.
And it almost made me think that we don't need the second verse. But I do like that he switches up his flow. It becomes faster. And I like that he shows off a little bit of style. But yeah, I just found that second verse was nowhere near the quality of his first. And the outro is almost better in my mind. Like, that outro was just nice. It just made sense to me. But yeah, it was under the beat and I didn't mind it. As for the bars, there were some good ones. Like, wear your stacks, wear your strap, wear your crow line, big pump, don't stunt when it's showtime. Kind of funny how I didn't need a cosign. Shut your mouth, you ain't squeezing, pussy boy, I just leave him. But I got to say that, like, he's got some good lines, but he's also got some nothing in there as well. Like, there are some times where I listen to Stormzy that I'm just like, oh, I kind of don't know what you're talking about, but that's more later on. And I also like the lines, ends ain't brave, I can see it in your face. I can just look at you and I know.
Yeah.
But overall, I thought this was a good song, not as strong as the first track, and I'm going to be cold and give it 4 stars.
Interesting.
That's not cold.
I thought you guys might give it 5 stars.
Okay.
You thought right.
Yeah.
Well, I gave it 5 stars anyway. Like, I see what you're saying, but yeah, I don't have any of those issues that you had. Like, the last song, First Things First, that was a slapper. This song is a banger. Like, that's the difference for me. Like, this song bangs. The closest thing we get to a hook on this song is, you know, that I've been cold the whole season. I should call my next one freezing. And I love that. Like, that is so catchy. That is my shit. I also like when he's... Yeah, go on.
But that's what I mean when that's better than the second verse. To me, there's no real quotables in the second verse.
Okay.
And it's short. So I would have cut the second verse, give me the outro, and it's just short, sweet, it's real tight. Like, it almost doesn't... Like, it's weird that it has, like, a hook-esque outro.
Yeah. Well, I guess I don't have those issues because maybe I like the beat way more than you. So when a beat is that good, like, I don't even care what he's saying. But I think he said some quality shit. Like, I picked out a few lines. But I also wanted to say, like, I like that one time he switches it up and he goes, cut the whip, it's so pricey. I should call my next one icy. Like, just for one time he switched it up. Instead of freezing, he went icy. I like that. Stormzy's got bars here, I reckon. Like, I picked out a few. And like, for example, who, what, them, man, there, nah, them men are harmless. I just went to the park with my friends and I charted. That's cool because
That's my favorite part.
yeah, because it's just the right amount of like braggadocious, but it's also like it's facts. Like this, it's in reference to his song "Shut Up" that comes later in the album, and that was basically just a freestyle in a park, and it actually made the charts. So that's why it's just a cool line to me. And then, just a line like, "Know a couple OGs that are living off crime, but a young black boy got a milli off grime." Like, he's just flexing. He's just like, I'm rich now because of my music, but I'm still down with the OGs, so don't mess with me. So I just like, it's like, humble brags. But yeah, this song is just a banger, and it goes hard, and it's another 5 stars.
See that? Yeah, I was grappling with this actually as well, Aaron. I didn't know whether it was a 5-star for me or a 4-star. I described the instrumental as very different. I like to the first track. I'm comparing it. It's not something I've heard before, especially over like a hip hop song. It's just unusual. But it does fit well with the pace that Stormzy brings. And I said it reminds me of an instrumental that I'd hear on a dance house or techno song. And then now knowing where grime originates from, like with garage and dance music, it makes sense. So I'm like, okay, it sort of, it has credibility in terms of the choice of the instrumental. I love his pace. I love, like, it impresses me how fast yet how clearly he can rap. And I think, like, you know how, like, when, I don't know, another rapper raps really fast, like, for some people they like that, others they don't, others they're like, meh. Like, I like it when rappers rap fast, but obviously can still understand them. So I feel like...
Yeah, but you like it when it's effortless.
Yes.
When he does it, it feels effortless. It doesn't feel like you're just doing it because you're just trying to show off. It just seems to suit him. True.
And it suits the sound of grime now as well. So I'm like, okay, I like this. I can get down with this. You both said my favorite lyrics. Danny had the park one. I thought that was really cool. I'll talk more about that song obviously later. But I also like the kind of funny how I didn't need a cosign. Obviously that explains itself, but he's an independent artist. And he has his own label, #Murky Records. So that's why you hear Merc a lot or Murky a lot. And I don't know, I just think, yeah, like Danny said, it is a cool sort of humble brag that I have got here sort of without, the need for a major label. That's sort of on some Macklemore shit, isn't it? But yeah, I think this song for me highlighted straight up that Stormzy is open to different shit and flexible to rapping over an unusual instrumental, which now makes sense as being more of a usual instrumental for grime.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, I get it, but I don't mind the absence of like a full hook. I'd call it. Like, it does have the hook, and I do like it, but I wouldn't describe it as it's. I don't know. Does it say it's a hook?
I don't know.
No. It says it's an outro.
Yeah, no, it doesn't even say it's a hook. So I didn't call it a hook, but I can see how you would call it a hook, like a short hook. It's still a slight step down for me from the first track, so I gave it 4 stars.
Jeez.
Yeah. Did you guys pick his favourite line? So Stormzy has said what his favourite lines in that track are.
Well, no, I didn't.
And it's none of them that we picked.
What is it?
His favourite lyrics, or his favourite line, and this is quote, "All my young black kings rise up. Man, this is our year. And my young black queens right here. It's been a long time coming, I swear."
Okay.
Which is just interesting. Obviously, he wrote that track, and we didn't pick it, but obviously it means more, obviously, as for a black person than it does for 3 white people. So it doesn't really like impact us that much, but that's just interesting to see the difference, I guess.
Yeah, like I can like I can see what you're doing there, and I do like that because it is a cool like fact. And I think later on I talk about he actually chose a favorite song on this album too. I don't know if you guys picked up on that, but yeah, it is cool to hear what artists think of their music because it's like we have had conversations about artists and what they would genuinely think of this album or that song if you sat down and talked to them away from like the media, away from the critics. So yeah, no, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Out of interest, completely random, what's your favorite movie?
What? That's so random.
Yeah, I'll tell you mine. Bad Boys.
Oh no! That was the worst one you've ever done.
No, you know what? When you said your favorite movie, at first I was thrown off. I was just like, "What is this like a podcast like Instagram plug or something?" He's gonna like try and weave in. But then I looked at the next track and I was like, "Oh, I know exactly what he's gonna do just before he did."
Yeah, I kind of feel bad that I didn't see it. So maybe it wasn't that bad. Yeah.
All right, track number 3, Bad Boys.
I prefer Bad Boys too.
Yeah, it is good.
Yeah.
Have you seen
Bad Boys 3?
No, haven't seen it.
Neither.
Who kicked off the second one? The second track, Cold?
I did.
Danny, take it away.
Take it away, boys. Okay, Bad Boys featuring Gets. And how do you say that? J Huss. I'm going to say.
Yeah, J Huss.
Or Just.
Just. Okay. Well, anyway, I don't like the way Stormzy starts his verse here. He does that annoying thing where he ends every line with the same word. Bad boys. Bad boys.
Yeah.
Bad boys. Like sometimes that kind of thing works, but not here. Not for me. It's just annoying. But, he drops it after the first 8 bars, so it doesn't ruin the whole song. But that was annoying. The hook is decent. Like, it's actually got some melody to it. I also like the very last line of the hook, like where it says, apart from you, there's bad men here. Just the idea that literally everyone here is more gangster than you is just funny to me. Like, that's hilarious. So, like, we have Gets. Gets is here. Wait, I didn't even mention Stormzy.
No,
not really.
I don't think he's on this song.
Jesus. Well, obviously Stormzy didn't even register for me because I literally didn't mention him at all.
No, you did mention Stormzy. You said you don't like how he starts his verse.
Oh, okay. But then nothing else. Jeez, his verse must have been shit.
Anyway, Gets is a better rapper than Stormzy.
No, I'm definitely not, because I'm about to get to that. But then I was like, hang on, do I have no opinion about Stormzy here? But I guess my opinion is he fucked up his verse at the start.
Right, get to Gets.
Yeah, so Gets on the second verse, like, I'm not really a fan, to be honest, of his voice and how he uses it. Like, for me, his flow is, like, all over the place. Like, it's like he couldn't catch the beat or something. It's a strange way to flow over this beat. His lyrics, however, go pretty hard, especially towards the end. My one tiny nitpick that I have, and this is just like a really random, strange nitpick, is when he says, "Where's everyone? I ain't scared of you, but I'm scared of your gun."
Yeah.
Just because, and I know this isn't even fair, but I reckon if this was Prodigy, like, he wouldn't be scared of you or your gun. Like, it's kind of weak to be scared of someone's gun. Like, it reminds me of Mobb Deep's Right Back at You, where Prodigy says, "Run for your life, or you want to get your heat, whatever. We can die together. As long as I send your maggot ass to the essence, I don't give a fuck about my presence." Like, that is, he's not scared of dying as long as you die with him. Like, Prodigy is the GOAT. That is how you do shit like that. Anyway, the song is still good. It's just, for me, because I gave the first 2 tracks 5 stars, and this is not up to their level. Like, Yeah, I'm just going to give this 4 stars. I don't know
Yeah.
why. I feel like I might have to give it lower because I clearly don't even have an opinion about Stormzy, and I didn't like Gets that much. I don't know. 4 stars. Weird.
Yeah. But I will say it's a good beat. Like,
I guess that's it. Yeah.
like it's got that sound again. It's up tempo. It's going.
Yeah.
And so far, I'm a fan of Stormzy's beat selection because it's working. Like, this is definitely one of those this tracks where it's like he's upbeat. But I actually looked into that skit like at the beginning because obviously they're talking about Gets and like all this shit, and apparently there was this beef between Gets and Bashy, 2 grime artists, and Bashy was saying that Gets was having sex with his cellmate when he was in prison, and then Gets was saying, "Oi, ask Carlos, he was my next door celly, and he can say that you didn't." So that's why they always go, "Ask Carlos."
Yeah, because I was wondering about that. They say that a lot here. Okay.
Yeah, so that's what it is. It's like they know each other, and he's like, "Ask Carlos, he knows that I didn't." So that's why like, "Oh, where's Carlos? Where's Carlos? Ask him how man was in jail about fucking truth."
That
Stick
makes
to
a
the
lot of
truth,
sense.
Stick to the fucking truth.
Yeah.
So if you didn't know that,
no,
it wouldn't make any sense.
No.
But having said that,
Who was in jail with him?
there's just this dude named Carlos
Yeah, and Gets was in jail with.
with a cellmate, and then Bashy was saying, or at the time, yeah, and then he was saying that Gets was having sex with his cellmate, like he was saying he's gay, and so obviously Gets is not so thrilled about that. So he was saying, "Oi, ask Carlos. He knows the truth. He knows that I didn't." So it's just
that's really funny.
Yeah, it's a funny beef. I think I know that there's probably more into it, but I know that part of it. I looked that up.
Mate, Grime had so many beef. They beef over anything.
Yeah, well,
Grime is just beef.
I actually didn't know that until recently, and it was an interview. Seeing you brought this up, might as well talk about it. Stormzy was talking about his beef with Wiley, and
everyone's had a beef with Wiley. Literally everyone has had a beef with Wiley.
Yeah, he was saying that apparently Wiley just calls people out just for the sake of it because that's what grime is. It's just like constantly battling with other people.
Yeah, did you hear the latest about Wiley? Like literally in the last couple of days.
No.
He's throwing out heaps of anti-Semitic tweets, and so he was dropped by his management, and so he's cancelled. Wiley has been cancelled. Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
Yeah, he's like the Kanye of grime, I'm going to say. Like, so unstable. You hear so many stories about them just doing weird shit. Like, he's off his rocker.
But like, he's obviously respected as like one of the like founders of grime. So like, he obviously had good music. Not that I've listened to him.
Yeah, I love some of his stuff. But yeah, he's a weird dude.
Yeah.
No. Interesting.
But what I will say is, moving back to the album review, is that this, like, I know how you said that Bad Boys is annoying, Danny, but I liked everything else.
Okay.
Like, I liked how it's like some we just want to be accepted bad boys, some big whips but no electric bad boys. Think they're bad because of Narcos. There's some Netflix bad boys. I know a real show, man. You know Reckless. And then he's like, you know them protein shake in their breakfast bad boys. Like, he was just saying, you know these people who are flexing, whereas I know real bad boys. Like, I know people who'll do some real gangster shit.
Right.
Yeah. I like that. I like that part. I also like his line, "Nah, it's cons, man. I swear on my life, but faith in my knife. Wrong move had me on edge." He's going to cut you with his knife. It's an edge. So I like that. But in my mind, Gets had the better gangster verse.
Yeah.
Like, Stormzy had the flow. Gets had the bars. Like, he has that line, "Drive by ting, aim for your head, convertible your hard top, buck eye, your legs shake, your heart stops. That's an M case, nah dog."
Nah, dog.
Yeah, so like an M case is a murder case.
Yeah.
So, I like that line, and I do like as well. He's got this long part where he's like, "Fuck that fist fight, fair and square. Now fuck that flick knife, wear and tear. Now fuck that this guy's wearing his share. Might come back midnight, air in a flare. Deal with the matter like Skibber. How's he gonna feel when I'm shattering his liver? Bloodbath will fling a man up in a river. 14 holding my shank in a mirror, like I dare anyone. I dare anyone."
Yeah.
Like that gangster line.
That's what I was referencing when I was saying he starts spitting some really hard shit in the later part of his verse. Yeah.
But you're very right that I ain't scared of you, but I'm scared of your gun is not gangster. That it like undoes your work in a way. Like as much as everyone is scared of a gun, when you say it in a braggadocious hip hop, when he's like, "I'm going to stab the shit out of you,
Yeah.
and I'm going to murder you," and then he's like, "But I'm actually scared of your gun." It's like,
Exactly.
are you?
It says it in Genius, like explains those lyrics, and like you kind of don't need the explanation, but if you're looking for it because you're like, oh, those bars are a bit whack, then it's probably good to read it. Now this is purely an opinion, but like it says here that it's showing his vulnerability, but it's also showing like the fear that he has for, in this case, guns, which is what it's argued here that is one of the reasons why he carries a knife, because he's scared of people who have guns, because he knows if someone has a gun, like it's game over as soon as they pull the trigger. Whereas with like knife crime, it's not that simple. So it's like you could almost argue that carrying a knife, like I'm not condoning this in any way, shape, or form, but he's saying is more gangster than carrying a gun, because people who carry a gun, it's just one shot, you're dead. That's it. Like, whereas with a knife, I'm going to get up close and personal to you. I'm going to assault you. Like that.
Yeah, but my argument to that is, if you think that you're a gangster, you would say, "I don't care if you bring a gun. I'm going to kill you with my knife." Like the saying is, never bring a knife to a gunfight. But like he's talking about how he's going to kill people, and then he just undoes that by saying that, "Oh, now I'm scared though." Like I get it. I understand the logic behind it, but we're
Exactly.
not talking logic.
Yeah.
We're talking about braggadocious hip hop, which he's clearly trying to go for. But I'll also say he also had that nice transition, like to the end of the bars. It was all calm before Stormzy. Now it's lightning.
Yeah,
like that's just nice wordplay. But you didn't say anything about the hook, but I'll say I fluctuate as to whether I like it or not. It's like melodic and pleasant, but I actually think it's a bit too wordy. Like it has a lot of words in it, and I don't really remember it. And I think that it could have ended on Getz's last line. It would have been stronger if it was like, it was all calm before Stormzy. Now it's lightning. Finish the track. Let the beat end, and it's a good transition into the next track. Instead, they have a weaker hook that ends the track.
possibly.
It really didn't do much for me. But overall, I'm going to say it was pretty good. They used the hook as a melodic transition into the next track, and I'm going to give this 4 stars. It was pretty good.
Okay. We're all pretty much on the same page of late, actually. Like, originally I gave this track 3 stars, but then I, like, recently upgraded it to 4. That hook for me is dope. I said, shout out to J Hus or Just for that chorus. Like, I really got with that chorus. Like, I don't know, I think you guys sort of, or Danny said it before, like, he felt it as well. So, yeah, I like that.
I like it.
Yeah, it's a track that's grown more on me, It's grown more on me over time. In regards to J Hus or Just, he has this like smooth yet slightly raspy voice, and I think the delivery of the hook is really cool. So that's like something that stood out to me straight up from this track. Interestingly, not Stormzy. Gets for me sounds like an English version of Kendrick Lamar.
No.
Surprisingly, I was not feeling it, like sonically from a sound point. It just wasn't for me. he does spit that aggressive shit that you talked about. My favourite lines from him were the fair and square one, wear and tear, wearing his share. I like that. The beat is ominous, gritty. I described it as the background vocals complement Stormzy's like deep, commanding voice. Stormzy's favourite lyrics, or my favourite lyrics of Stormzy's are, you guys didn't even mention them. He goes, look, fuck boy, what you gonna say? What you gonna do? Run. Ah, yeah, right. You ain't gonna do none. Bad boy left and all that you hoped for. Should have done book, but you want to do gun.
That's good.
I thought that was a really good line. So yeah, I gave this song 4 stars. Still,
Yeah, I had that line. I just didn't read it out. Otherwise, I'd just quote the whole thing, mate.
Which you always do anyway.
Yeah, I get excited.
Yeah.
When they're good, it's good. Like
And when it's bad?
it's bad.
Interesting.
So for me, I think First Things First is still the standout. However, Cold and Bad Boys I liked as well, so there are 4. So where are we at the moment? So Danny had 2 5-star tracks and then a 4. Aaron, you had a 1 5-star.
1 5, 2 4.
So we're on the same page, Aaron. Danny's giving him slightly more props than we are.
I love Stormzy way more than you.
Yeah, he's good, isn't it?
He's bloody good in it.
Yeah.
It's bloody good, but
No, there's Stormzy in it.
I just love staying in it.
Yeah, in it. Yeah.
All right, Matt, you can take the next track. You're Blind. This song is track 4, Blinded by Your Grace, part 1.
Okay. This track on first listen just caught me completely off guard. It does not fit whatsoever with the previous tracks. Like,
No.
there's no, like, you can't compare them. It's
No.
In the words of you boys, you use this saying all the time. It's night and day. It's absolutely not.
Yeah.
It's apples and oranges. It's peaches and plums.
So yeah, it was just like a slap in the face. Really, I was like, what? So I'll say that straight up. I'll also say that I'm just going to give all the bad first, and then I'll try and find some good in it because
I like that you have to say, I'll try to find some good.
It's hard, but I think it's fair because if you're going to do a song like this, you need to like set me up for it a little bit at least. Like, give me some warning. So I'm going to give him
The
2.
title of the album is The Warning.
Yeah. I know. That's what I was going to.
Hold your horses. Hold your bloody horses.
Hey, let me show this track first, and then we'll it's harsh, but I'm going to give it 2 stars. It's trash. I would skip it.
That's generous. That is so generous.
I would. The reason why I'm giving it 2 stars, in his defense, after looking into like the album and his intentions for it more, as well as obviously of the album, it's not a pure grime album. There is gospel influences in there. It fits when you know that. I would also say his voice is not terrible to listen to. Like, he doesn't have a terrible singing voice. Like, there is melody in his voice. So, like, it's not like I'm not like stabbing my ears. Like, I'm not like, oh my God, this is so bad, I need to skip this right now in terms sonically I'm talking about. So, like, that is probably, those 2 things are its saving grace, knowing the intentions behind the album and his voice isn't terrible. But it's not something that I would personally prefer to listen to compared to, say, First Things First. So therefore, I would skip it and go straight to First Things First. So 2 stars.
Yeah. You said. What did you say? No. What did you say about giving it 2 stars? It was like,
Generous.
I'm going to be harsh. You said you were going to be harsh.
Yeah, harsh. Yeah.
Yeah. Generous. like this is it. This is the extremely rare, never seen before 1-star song. This song is the complete opposite of what I want to hear from an MC like Stormzy. And yeah, as the title suggested, there are going to be gang sign songs on the album. and there are prayer songs on the album. The first 3 songs were clearly gang sign songs. This is quite obviously the first prayer song, and I'm having none of it. Get this shit off the album.
Yeah.
Like, and the thing is, like, I'm not even talking about the subject matter, which I will touch on later. I'm sure we all will. Stormzy should not be singing. Period. Like, yeah, he might have some melody, but an entire song from start to finish of him singing is a no, is a big no. And, like, yeah, you can't just go from the first 3 songs being hardcore gangster shit into whatever this is, and then immediately back into gangster shit on the very next song.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. It completely disrupts the flow of the album. And, like, I just never, ever want to hear a song like this from a rapper like Stormzy. So Stormzy earns himself a solid 1 star for this one.
Generous.
Yeah. I mean, imagine a 0. Oh, that would be insane. Imagine a 0-star song. That would be, wow.
That would be if he sang and was really bad.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that would be so... Oh, I actually want to hear a 0-star song now.
Don't
Someone
you-
find me.
Don't you think it's a bit laughable that in the outro at the very end he's like, "Oh, ha ha ha, that was it." Yeah. Like it's almost like he's looking for permission. He's looking for reassurance that him singing was good. He's like,
Yeah.
like when does he do that on his like gang signs track? He never at the end says, "Oh, do you think I got it then?" Like was that?
That's a good point. I like that.
That is a good point. Can I just say, this is what he said about this. Okay, so
Mate, you've done a lot of research. Where are you finding all this information?
Well, he did an interview about like the tracks in the album. So he said, "I wanted to make a beautiful gospel song, but there's a psychological thing that happens when I get on into the booth to sing. When I'm listening back, I'm judging the song based on my vocal range. I said, I'm not a fucking singer. I'm not Frank Ocean. So I told the producer, I want to record this. I want to record this in the studio, just on the sofa, live on the mic. I was able to do it without judging myself. Now, if you know you're not a singer, don't sing. It's very simple. He knows. And did any of you pick up the background sound? Like it wasn't completely dead silence. It was like background kind of noise was in there.
I think so. Yeah.
That also annoyed me because you clearly didn't give a shit enough about it to cut that shit out. Like, okay, impressive that you can kind of get away with it. Yes, the piano is pleasant, but it did nothing for me, especially when it's about his faith and like each to their own. I don't want to hear anything about it. I'm not interested. And just stick in your lane. If I can take a quote from Shane Noir, stay in your lane.
Yeah.
And I also gave this 1 star.
Ooh, very cool.
Yeah. I wrote down, turn this shit off, give me what I want, and this wasn't it.
Yeah.
Give me back my hip-hop, give me back my grime, turn this shit off. I never want to hear that again, and I was annoyed that I listened to it so many times through the music.
Yeah. We synced up. We synced up, baby. See, I told you, Matt, you were generous.
Yeah,
you were generous. It was almost like he got too big for his boots.
Oh God. I just wanted to say, before you did that shitty transition, that, like, of course, out of any of us, though, Matt would be the one to like this more than us two.
Yeah.
For many reasons. Which we might touch on later.
Spoiler.
Yeah.
Yeah. Spoiler!
Alrighty. Track 5, Big for Your Boots. Who wants to kick this off?
Way too big for your boots.
I got the big Star 12s on my feet.
Way too big for your boots.
All right, I'm just going to kick this off. I'm kicking this off. Boy.
Boo.
Solid track, yo. This is a solid one. The chipmunk vocals. I'm always a fan of the big chipmunks.
You love it, Chippy.
So, yeah, one of
Alvin?
the best. Alvin, he's here and he's doing well. So, it's a nice touch. I actually like it a lot. Hook is decent, but like I don't think it's great or anything. I don't see myself rapping along to it. Like I like to be able to, rap along to my music, and I'm not rapping along to this one. Also, like, here's a weird thing. I know he's saying, because I had to look it up on Rap Genius, I know he's saying I've got the big size 12s on my feet,
Yeah.
which is fine. But all I ever hear, and the first 5 times I heard it, and it bugged me every time, all I hear is, I've got the big size toes on my feet. Did either of you hear that? Like,
No.
I did hear that.
that is all I heard. Is every time he sung that hook, I've got the big size toes on my feet. Like, are you a freak? Why are you bragging about big toes? Like, it just makes it sound ridiculous. And I guess it's okay because he's not saying that, but in a way it's not okay because that's what I hear. So it ruins it a little bit.
I've got the big size toes on my feet.
And the big size toes on my feet. Oh, God. Like, okay, so here's the thing. The bar for this album was set from the first 2 songs, for me anyway. Like, you like the first song, not so much the second song, or not as much anyway. But for me, like, First Things First is in a class of its own. It slaps like nothing else on the album. Like, there's no other song on this album that sounds anything like First Things First. Cold, on the other hand, for me, was an absolute banger. And I'd argue that there are several songs on this album that are trying to go for that same banger quality that Cold had. Big for Your Boots wants to be like Cold, but unfortunately it doesn't quite get there for me. Like, it's still a good song. It has all the elements I enjoy, from like the chipmunk vocals, the braggadocious rap, but Cold just does everything this song does, but better. So, still a good song. I'm going to give it 4 stars.
I don't agree with you, Danny.
Ooh, in what way?
Well, I'm about to tell you why.
Okay.
But first, before I tell you why, let me just start by saying, how annoying is it that you go from a 1-star song like Blinded by Your Grace, which sonically makes no sense with Big for Your Boots, following one another. It makes absolutely no sense, and I'm confused. But at the very least, we're back. We're back to something that I like to hear. And I love the epic beat. The vocal samples are good. The chipmunk, they use Reese, R-I-S-S-E. I've got no idea who that is. And then they've got like a choir male voice as well that just makes it more epic. And I love that epic vibe. And then he's got heavy drums. And it was actually the number 1 single and had 800,000 views in the first 24 hours it was dropped. Like, this was huge. Like, it just went off.
Sounds like he's too big for his boots.
Oi! Yeah. He's got big toes, that's why.
Yeah, big size toes for his boots, eh?
He's got his smooth, fast flow, and he's got his classic, like, British UK tings that he says. Like, I didn't, honestly, this is what I came to hear. His bars weren't as strong as they've been, but his flow is good. And he's got one line that annoys me. It says, "This year I learned how to take care of business. Next year I'll learn how to play the guitar." And I'm going to say, if your guitar playing is anything like your singing, leave it alone. Don't do it. Stick to your rapping. Stick to what you're good at. But he has some other good lines. He's got Clown stand down. Never had a Mac 10 or Trey Pound. You never were bad then. You ain't bad now.
Cool.
Never had a Mac then. Little N back down.
Oi, that's good.
That is good. And he's also got, don't care who you know from my block. You're not Al Capone. You'll get boxed. And I have a feeling boxed, he means you'll be dead and you'll be buried. So that's me obviously adding a little bit. I think he meant it like that, but
Yeah.
But yeah, that was gangster. And he also says, your face ain't big for my boot. Like he's going to smash you in the face. Well, yeah.
He's going to curb you with his size 12 toes.
Yeah. He's going to mash your nose in between his toes.
Oi, when we get Stormzy on here for like, you know, to interview for our podcast, Danny, the first
which is happening next week.
Yeah. The first thing you need to ask him is, oi, how big are your toes?
Yeah, show us. Take your boot off. Let's see.
Imagine if he has size 12 feet. Like, what size are you guys have big feet. What size are you?
I'm size 10.
Yeah, I'm 10, if maybe 9.5.
I wonder, like, I'd like to see a size 12 foot. I imagine it would have big toes because, I mean, it's a big foot, so.
We'll try to organise that for next week. We'll get some shoe experts, some feet models, and we'll line them up for you.
That's funny. Anyway, I'm going to finish this off and say this is 5 stars, baby.
God damn.
And I am ready for him to get on a roll, much like he did at the beginning. So fingers crossed he can give us something in the next track.
Yeah.
Aaron and I are just like a cute little couple. We just sync up. I mean, the only thing
embarrassing.
is the last track, but like we've literally synced up on everything.
It's embarrassing.
I'm jealous.
It is 5. It's definitely a 5er.
No.
Catchy hook. I like the hook. It's I feel like he's definitely accentuating his English accent on this hook, which explains why like some of the words, like if you're not like from England or if you're not British, you would like misconstrue as a different word. Like the way he even says boots, like he really puts like a twang on it, an English twang. And like I think that adds value to the hook. It makes it special. It makes it stand out. That's why I think it had so much success when it dropped. It's characteristic. So yeah, I think in terms of like a catchy hook, this is it. I also think it's something listeners will either love or hate. I don't think there'll be a lot of middle ground with like this hook. Or this, just the sound, sorry, his sound, because I feel it's heavily British on this track. So if you don't like that sound, you're probably not going to like this track very much. You will, though, you don't have a choice, you will like the hard, fast-paced instrumental and the nice background vocals, because there's nothing not to like about those. There are solid verses as well, if you can get past the accent. My favourite bars are, try to tell me I'm way too big to rebel. What? Nah, man, you're never too big to rebel. What? I was in the O2 singing my lungs out. Rude boy, you're never too big for Adele. And I'll explain that line because, like, I know, like, I felt like when I heard that, I was like, all right, Danny's definitely going to have a crack at that. He'd sort of counter and say, yes, you can be too big for Adele for sure. Like, so... like that before knowing any context, I was like, oh, but like, do you want to sing with Adele, bro? Like you're a hip hop artist, you're like hardcore, like, you know, it doesn't make sense. Like I know Eminem's been doing it a lot lately and there are other artists who do it. But like why? So in an interview, on one of the radio talk shows, I think it was in actually America, he went to America and he addressed that, or not that line in particular, but just his vision for his career. And he has said from the very beginning that he wants commercial success. He wants platinum records. He wants all the plaques. And he has said that he doesn't care who he works with as long as who he is working with is helping him achieve that. So if he has to work with big commercial pop mainstream artists like, let's say, Adele, let's say Ed Sheeran, he'll do it because he wants that success. Like, and his justification for it was like, he has been criticized by a lot of like pure, let's call them pure grime artists, let's say something like Wiley or Skepta. He's been criticized for that decision because they have said that he's essentially selling out and making money off grime music by like what's the word for it? Like turning it into something that isn't grime. Like, so, but his justification was like, why wouldn't I want to make as much money as I can? Why wouldn't I want to get my music out to as many people as I can? And if they've never listened to grime music before, maybe I can be the gateway to grime for them. So like, I like the fact that he is not hiding behind like anything. He's saying, I am never too big for Adele. I will always like sing with Adele. And it goes deeper than that. He's also has like quite a personal relationship with her, and they've like apparently they chat regularly. So like there's
Aren't they dating?
no, him and Adele aren't. He was dating.
I heard a rumor that they are dating, or maybe I'm starting a rumor. But if I am, great. I'm pretty sure they were dating.
Really? Okay, I could be wrong. I haven't heard that. That's why I said no. But I could be wrong. But yeah, I guess my point is that I like that he is honest. He's open and honest about what he wants from the industry, and he's not afraid to do whatever it takes to get there. In a way, it reminds me, it's sort of 50 Cent-esque mentality. Like, it's sort of like a get rich or die trying. Like, he is going to do what it takes. Like, it reminds me of like what Aaron would do for this podcast to get it to the height it needs to get to. Like, he's looking at different avenues. He's looking at different ways that he can be as successful as possible. He doesn't care about the underground shit. Like, well, no, I shouldn't say that. Like, he does. He respects it. He said that before. He respects Wiley as a rapper, not as a person because of their beef. Or not as a man, quote unquote. He respects Skepta. He respects what they've done for grime, but he wants to take it in a different direction and see where that can get him, as long as it gets him success. I thought that was cool.
Let me just say though, about us, we're doing this for Basquiat, so let's not forget.
We are the opposite of Stormzy in a way.
I just looked it up. It turns out Adele is dating Skepta. And met through Stormzy.
There you go.
No way.
Yeah.
There you go. I think
Adele gets around, doesn't she?
that is a rumor for sure.
But yeah, no, I definitely like this song. It's as I said before, I'm the same with Aaron. It's a 5-star song for me. Yeah, props to Stormzy. Good job. He's back, baby. He's back on that gangster.
He's back on his 4-star song rhythm.
Nah.
Oh.
Harsh. You were harsh.
Sure.
Get ready. I'm going to make this transition as smooth as velvet, baby.
Oh.
I'm going to kick this one off. I want to kick this off.
No, I'm kicking this off.
Because I know.
All right, let me introduce the track.
Okay.
You just did.
No, I just said velvet, but there's more to it. Track 6, Velvet / the Jenny Francis interlude.
All right, let me kick this off. So,
So I wanted to kick this off because you guys are going to trash it. I know you're both going to trash it. You're going to.
How badly are we going to trash it?
It's not going to be a 1-star. Like, I don't think, because it's not as bad as Blinded by Your Grace Part 1, but you're going to trash it. I'm predicting that Danny's going to give this a 2-star.
How many?
2, I'm going to say.
Okay.
And I think Aaron's going to give this maybe between a 2 and a 3, maybe a 2.5. That's what I'm thinking, but I could be wrong because Aaron and I have been a bit cute recently. So, I want to start this off because I love this slow jam instrumental on this track, and the female artist's voice on the hook is dope. Like chipmunk or normal voice, like I love it. Like, it's just soothing for me. He's also been known in the past for making love songs, like for the ladies. So this song was bound to happen. I knew this was something like this was going to come. I would listen to this track again, as I found it extremely pleasant on the ear. The hook, actually, or the sample, reminds me of a song that I've heard before, and I couldn't put my finger on it. I pulled one from Leslie Gore, the artist is. It's from a song called "It's My Party" from the year 1963, and it has a similar vibe to that, but it's not it. I still haven't found the song that it reminds me of. The sample, I mean.
You can find it, probably. There's a site called Who Sampled. You can just chuck this into the search bar and it'll come up.
Yeah.
I did not know that. Oh, that's brilliant. I will, because, I'm just in love with that sample that was playing from the beginning. I also appreciate Stormzy's, how he jokes about he couldn't sing. At the end of the song, it's sort of another laughable moment. He says, what did he say? Sorry, I'm just looking through.
I'll just fill in. What did he say? What the hell did he bloody say this time? He's always getting into trouble, this Stormzy.
You reckon? I can't even bloody find it anyway. I feel like
you wanted to go first. You bloody.
It says somewhere on the track that I bet you thought Stormzy couldn't sing, and it's sort of just like another. It's another joke. It's another I feel like
I wish I could hear it. I wish you could have found the lyric so I could laugh.
Sorry. He's not taking himself too seriously on this track, I don't think. But at the same time, I think genuinely he also wants to sing or wants to be able to sing. I'm not sure. But I think he's just wanting to give something a go, something different, like a go with this album. And it's quite brave seeing it's his first album, but it's also quite smart because it means that he can hit as many different tastes of people as possible. So, from a business standpoint, maybe it's tactical, the decision. So I'm giving him respect for this track, and I'm giving it a 4-star rating. I would listen to this again.
Wow.
Yeah.
4 stars. Well, I'm gonna jump in, and I'm gonna say, Matt, prepare to be disappointed.
Yeah. No, I know what you're gonna. I predicted your rating, so let's see how close I was.
Yeah. So let me just start off by saying, once again, we go from a shit. We've gone shit transition to shit transition. He went from Bad Boys to Blinded by Your Grace to Big for Your Boots to Velvet. Right? It's so back and forth. I have whiplash at this point. And can I just say, this is the second longest song in this album. Yeah. And for the second longest track, this is not what I want to hear. I get it. If you want to hit a market, fine, do it. Make it 3.5 songs. But this is 5 minutes and 40 seconds. And I get that he's diversifying. I know that he wants to add an R&B type song that but he missed the mark. He uses a trappy beat, a hook that's not catchy, and honestly, I wouldn't listen to it again. The vocal and chipmunk-esque vibe in the instrumental is the only redeeming factor here, but the content is literally just about women, and it's just about love, and we're going to say it time and time again, but if you're a rapper, this is not what we want to listen to. This is just not what we're interested in. If I want to hear you go hard, this is not hard. This is just, it's just strange. You did it in Blinded by Your Grace, and now we're doing it again, and there's going to be more coming up, but there's no bars that are impressive. The flow is slow, uninspired. The structure almost doesn't make sense as well. There's an intro with Stormzy and NAO together, a verse, a pre-hook, which feels like a hook, then an actual hook with NAO, who does her thing, and she isn't bad, I'll give her credit, and then another boring verse, a hook, and the last verse is so shit He's singing again. All right, you had your time to sing. Now you're singing again, and it's trash. No quotables. I gave this 1.5 stars.
Whoa! God damn!
Yeah. Half off.
I have this 1.5.
God damn, boy.
Yeah, this is another skip. I would never listen to this again.
Huh.
But I did like the interlude, the Jenny Francis interlude.
Same.
I really like that. I like the way it sets up Mr. Skang. It's really nice, and I listen to that all the time.
Yeah, I like it too. It's like something you'd hear on Smooth FM.
Yeah,
it's like something.
Jenny Francis. A big up, Jenny Francis. She killed it.
Yeah. I agree.
Shout out to Jenny. I mean, if you've ever got a free minute, we'd love to have you on the show.
Hey,
yeah. You can do it for us as well. We'll use it for promos.
All right, 1.5 stars. What do you think about that, Matt?
Look, I expect, like I said, between 2 and 3. So I was only half a star off. So I knew he was going to hate it, and I know you're going to hate it. But going by your reaction to his 1.5, you're not going to hate it as much.
Well, here we have it. The extremely rare 0 star song. No. Let's not be ridiculous. All right. Let's see if I can surprise you. All right. This beat is hot.
Ooh.
This is a sexy instrumental. It starts with some Kanye level college dropout style chipmunk soul, and then it goes into this beat which is smooth as hell. It kind of slaps as well. I like this instrumental a lot.
Can I also say on that point, without interrupting too much, this was one of the instrumentals that I struggled with. I wrestled with at the end in deciding a favourite instrumental. This was one of them. And I was like, a part of me was like, I don't know if I can do it. And another part was, but it's so good. So
do it, baby, do it.
I'm glad that I'm not alone in that. So you did recognise the instrumental. Yeah.
Yeah, baby, do it. Yeah. So I got the good stuff out of the way. The song itself is kind of trash, though. The beat is amazing for me. The song itself is kind of trash. Aaron said it. It's an incredibly corny love song. And, Stormzy actually ruins the song, to be honest. Everything he says is cringy. Even the uncredited chick, does she have a name? You found it. Nao. Is that right?
Yeah, I didn't know. I just said NAO. Could be any of them.
Okay. Well, this uncredited chick who does the hook, she sounds pretty damn good to me, especially when she hits some of those high notes. It sounds great. I actually really like what she's doing. But just about everything that Stormzy contributes to the song only manages to bring it down. The thing is, I can see myself just listening to this song in the background and enjoying the sound. But if I even pay attention to what Stormzy is saying for a second, I'm going to be immediately turned off of the song. So, yeah, I even liked, like you said, the skit at the end. I thought that was really well done. It's a genuine radio skit. So everything except Stormzy is good about this song. This song had a lot of potential, and Stormzy ruined it. But I'm going to give this, just because I love everything else, 3 stars.
Wow.
So you were wrong on both counts, Matthew.
Gee.
But can I just say, for Stormzy ruining everything, Stormzy has 2 verses. He has an intro with Nao. He has the pre-hook with Nao. Then he has another verse. And then he has that third verse he has so much shit in this song. Like,
Yeah, but the chick is like singing over him, like it's not really him for that part. It's only the verses, and like I said, if I manage to tune out those verses, I'm liking what I'm hearing.
yeah, I can see that. I can see how you can listen to this in the background and just not pay attention, but I would never actively listen to this trash.
Yeah,
it is.
Stormzy would feel. Shout out to Stormzy. Yeah, this is a really good track. I could just have it on in the background, but like not really pay attention to this shit. But like, yeah, it sounds good. See, but I can say that because I genuinely like this song. But like, I also can honestly say,
and I genuinely don't.
Yeah, but like that's fine. That's what we were saying before, or Danny was saying before about art. It's like it's so open to your own interpretation. It's like this is. I actually thought this was going to be the song where we all diverged. Like I thought this could be it.
And we did. We did.
Mm.
All of us had different opinions.
Yeah. So no, it's. I mean, it's what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. Well, as Jenny Francis says, it's time for Mr. Skeng.
Yes.
It's time for the next track, track 7, Mr. Skeng. Danny, you wanted to kick off the last one, but Matt ran over you.
Yeah, Matt, rude.
So I'll let you kick off this one as a piece of.
I was going to say that. Rude boy. Rude boy. All right, I'm going to kick this off if Matt lets me.
Go for it.
Do I have your permission? All right, mate. Stop kissing your teeth, mate.
Stars, mate.
I like how Stormzy says that on the last song. Yeah. I kiss my teeth.
What does that mean?
It's just like, you know, picture it.
Oh, okay. So, but is it like he's saying it in like a good way or a bad way? Like, give me context. Like, put it in.
Well, the first time it was in a bad way when he was talking about his dad. No.
Yeah, his dad. Yeah.
Well, yeah, when he was talking about his dad, he's like he kissed his teeth. It was like, you know, like, and he turned around and walked away. Like, I don't have time for this shit. But then the second time he did it, it was because like one of his really close friends died. He's like, damn, I lost someone. You know?
Oh, okay. It reminds me sort of like that sound you make when you're like deep in thought about something. Like you'll do that, but you'll do it with more of a breath than like a kiss.
Yeah. But yeah, I like the. This is like we've skipped ahead to the last song, but like I just like the imagery of kiss your teeth because there's no other way to describe it. And when he said it, I was like, yeah, that's exactly what you do. You kiss your teeth, and that's
spoiler alert. God, you didn't spoil alert any of that.
Anyway, I'm supposed to go first for Mr. Skeng, aren't I?
Yeah.
All right. Well, first of all, like I have another. You know, it's like the toes thing. Like Mr. Skeng, the way he says it, it sounds like Mr. Skin, which is, you know, that website for celebrity nudes. You know that site?
Yeah.
So he's always saying Mr. Skin. Yeah. So that's what I hear. Like, that doesn't affect my rating or anything, but I just wanted to mention it. Like, I always hear Mr. Skin when he says Mr. Skeng.
But like
it's very similar.
But I totally get what you're saying, but I feel like I wonder what his opinion is when like people who are not from Britain listen to his music and say stuff like that. Because like I was one of those people before listening to this album by choice. I was like, I don't want to listen to British hip hop. It's not my sound. I don't like the accents. It's not for me. So it's like, but then I started listening to it and I was like, that's not something that he can change. Like that is literally just how he talks. Like,
and I like it. I actually like the accent. I think it works in hip hop. The English accent works as opposed to the Aussie accent, which I think is absolutely atrocious when it comes to hip hop. The UK, you know, English accent works for me. And even though some words sound like other words, that's just like rare cases. Overall, I love it.
Yeah, I agree. The voice works.
Yeah. So that's just like a tiny thing that doesn't affect my opinion of the song. My opinion of the actual song is that Stormzy is going hard on this track, and he sounds angry. Like, I love it when rappers sound angry on a song. Stormzy's good at that. Stormzy sounds angry a lot. So I like that. The bars are solid. For example, I've had enough of them. They all piss me off. Had one chance, they missed the shot. I link up flips, then we burn your bridge, then we laugh about it and split the prof. Just gangster shit.
Yeah.
I like the hook a lot. It's short, it's effective, and it's brutal. Just like, call me Gunshot Mike or Mr. Skeng. Check 1 2 man skits again. Dickhead you in a dickhead crew getting gassed up by your dickhead friends. Just like, you know, you gotta hope he's not talking about you on this song. Like, he's so aggressive with that shit. This one gets really close to the bar set by Cold. I know you guys trashed Cold. I think Cold is amazing. And this comes real.
I wouldn't say we trashed it. I'd say
4 stars.
Aaron, now whenever we give something 4, I mean, just trash.
trash.
No. When you give 4 stars to a 5-star song, you've trashed it. Let's be honest.
And when you give 5 stars to a 4-star Trong, I can't speak.
Trong, I bloody hate that Trong. That bloody Trong.
I was going to say you're too big for your boots, but now it's pointless.
Anyway, back to this Trong. So this one.
Was the accent coming out there?
Yeah.
Wrong in Australia means song, guys, just for those international viewers.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
It's a mix between a track and a song. You get a Trong.
You are both making me sound so smart right now, and I love it.
But anyway, this song is like, for me, it's the closest thing to Cold. But like, it's just missing that special something to like push it over the top. And I think that's mainly the beat. Just doesn't quite hit the mark for me. Like, it's still a banger, but it's more of like a generic banger. Like, I've heard 100 like this. So, great song, but I've heard better on this album. So, I'm giving this one 4.5 stars.
Okay. Aaron?
And once again, we're back from a song to me that doesn't transitions well, but we'll move past. But I like the hard, grimy beat. I like that he goes hard, he goes fast, and his flow works. He just, fast flow suits Stormzy, and hard beats and fast beats suit Stormzy. This is what I like to hear. And he says some interesting stuff here. Like, he says, I got goons, you got goons, but the difference is your shit pretends.
Yeah.
My ends don't talk or rap. No, my ends don't talk or clash. No, my ends don't talk, they mash. Fuck boys, man. Are you talking smack? You're just saying they just murderers. They're straight up they're going to kill you. And he also says, I was 14 trying to buy me a gun. Most ends doing what I did back then. So now I thank God for the guy I've become. Just cool that like he's like, you're an adult and you're doing the shit that I was doing when I was 14.
Yeah.
Like, he's just making them look like children. But yeah, I like this song. I don't think it's as strong. I think Danny, you're right. It's not as strong as Cold, and it's not as strong as the others that we've heard. I think that it just misses a beat. But I did find that like Mr. Skeng is just a nickname that he has for himself.
Yeah.
And Mike is his actual name. So I didn't know that but I looked into it. So makes more sense because I was like, who the fuck is Mr. Skeng?
I mean, I didn't know that either, but I used common sense and I figured it out.
Oh yeah, right. Just
I don't know how you should feel about this. I feel like he's taken lots of shots at you. I feel like you should fire one back.
I mean, He just does it to make himself feel better.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Yeah, I know. I'm okay. I'll finish this podcast to feel good, and he'll be like, "Oh, didn't hurt him enough. I got to find better shot."
Anyway, keep talking about the Trong. Anyway, come on.
Yeah. Be careful. I'll give you the 21 gun salute.
Hey, he's buddy, you've sped way ahead. What are you doing?
Yeah, I know. Anyway, but yeah, the hook didn't do anything. Like, I liked the hook, and it was gangster, but it wasn't as great as the other ones. And based on that, I gave this 3.5 stars.
Ooh.
I don't think it was good as Cold. And Cold, I gave 4 stars. So,
damn.
Yeah, I gave this 3.5.
Oh, so you lowered it by a half like I did, but 3.5 sounds way worse than 4.5.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Wait, what was your rating?
3.5.
Okay. Interesting. We're going to diverge on this one as well then.
Oh, no. Please, no.
So, I love this beat. Like,
Whoa.
I know what you've said about it being generic. Now that you've said that, I kind of get it. But this was also an instrumental that I was tossing up for favourite on the album. Obviously, I loved First Things First. And maybe I'm really torn with the instrumental and the song, favourite song, but I've come up with them. But this one sounded more epic to me. That dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Dun, 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 dun. And it's just like, but I also see what you mean about there not being a hard enough drop. I don't think it dropped as hard as it could.
Mm-hmm.
It was more trappy than like bass heavy, and that kind of annoyed me. So like I wasn't completely sold when I chose my favorite instrumental. It's still up in the air, but I still love it. It commands your attention. That as soon as it starts, that dun 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 dun, it's like, oh shit, something big is about to happen. So
yeah,
I like it commands your attention like Stormzy does as well, because there's this seamless transition between the hook and the verses. He is the champion of this song. It's although the instrumental is amazing, like it allows him to breathe on this song and just go in. My favourite lyrics on this track are, I do rap, then I do grime, then I do rap, then I sing, then I roll right back, then I said, they said you ain't going to blow like that. Who gives a fuck? You know, like that. I like that, again, because it's sort of him stating what he's already stated before, but in a more aggressive way. He does what he wants to do, and that's it. Like that, you know, that's what a lot of like underground artists, I feel like, say. I make music for like the people who I want to hear my music, and I don't care what like the commercial people want. I'm not doing it to sell out. Whereas Stormzy is doing exactly what he wants because he does want to be commercial. So it's like, I'm going to make that abundantly clear in this song to everyone, but that's what I do. And if you don't like it, I don't care. I love this song, like 5 stars. It's got everything I want in a song. I think I'm being picky by saying I wanted a bigger beat drop. It has everything I like. 5 stars. Good job, Mr. Skeng. Also, on that note, because you were dropping facts about Stormzy, he has lots of different nicknames. Like, I think Stiff Chocolate's one of them. Mr. Skeng's another one. Obviously, he has Stormzy. Big Mike is another one. Mikey. The list goes on. There's heaps of them. Also, fun fact, other than already knowing his birthday today, do you know he's one of the tallest rappers in
the
hip-hop
world?
In hip hop in general.
6'3".
6'5".
What?
He's 100. He's 1.96 meters tall. So he's
that is cool.
Yeah, he's one of the biggest, like in terms of height, artists there is.
Big toes as well. Yeah, got it first.
Yeah. So I was looking up like tallest rappers, and Snoop Dogg was, I think Snoop Dogg's like, he's like 6'3" or something.
Okay. Nipsey Hussle. Is he on there? Was on there.
Should be. Sorry, I'm just looking as I'm going. But yeah.
Yeah, no, it's good podcasting. Yeah.
No, but yeah. So the point is,
Nipsey was 1 meter 91 centimeters.
Didn't you say that was what Stormzy was?
He's 1.9. Yeah, he's 1.96.
Oh, okay. Shit, it's big.
Yeah.
Mm.
I feel like that's definitely like I know it's like something people can't control, but it's like that's definitely something that's going to give you a presence immediately, like especially like a stage presence or just a presence in general, like being that big, like you stand out.
Yeah, definitely. Well, no wonder he needs so many cigarettes and so much kush. He's a big boy.
Jeez, that was bad. That was actually bad.
I could just do our podcast just for the transitions and the reactions of Bang.
All right, track 8, cigarettes and kush.
Yeah.
More like trash 8.
Oh, nasty dog. Who wants to predict the ratings for this one?
We should actually do that. That should be a thing. We should guess what each of us are going to think.
Yeah. Not for all of them, but like sometimes it'll be interesting. Matt, guess.
This is going to be a 1-star track for Danny, and this is for
Damn.
Aaron. This is going to be a 2-star track.
Wow.
Yeah. Go, you guess me.
All right. Well, I reckon, Matt, you're going to give it 2 stars or 2.5.
Oh, really? I think he's going to go more. At least 3.
I don't do halves. Aaron, you're right. I've given it 2 stars.
What?
Yeah. Oh
my God.
I was not feeling this track at all. I can't relate to the content. The hook felt confused and far too repetitive to me. The instrumental was okay, but nothing special. Stormzy needed far more rapping time on this track, in my opinion. But I'm not even sure if that would have saved it. I would skip this one in the future. Faux show.
Wow.
Yeah, short and sweet.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump in and I'm just going to... It's just a sigh. A big sigh. Because I'm over it. I'm over this crazy back and forth between bangers and non-hip-hop tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and I know this is going to seem harsh, but I just want to reframe. I'm reviewing it as a hip-hop fan. This is not me just trying to have a go. This is as a hip-hop fan. This is not what I like to listen to. And it is the longest song of the whole album. It's 5 minutes and 50 seconds of garbage. And I'll tell you what, I can see this being on the radio. I really can. This to me feels like a radio track with Lily Allen and Kalana if they have pleasant voices. And I actually like Lily Allen's voice. I like her accent. She's done that song, Fuck You, where she like really hams up that accent and it just works for her. I didn't feel that here. I didn't feel that she was particularly good. Like they both have pleasant melodies, but they don't really fit in this album. They have a hook, a pre-hook, and the bridge. It's shambles. And the only thing that was kind of meaningful was Stormzy's last verse where like he said, "Girl, you was my hero, my beat to my heart, and them tears on your face, man, they tear me apart. Man, I just want to fix you, fix what I broke. No cuddles on the sofa, no more smoke. And I pray to God, and I pray God saves you. Man, I pray all night. I just want to say thank you because you saved my life. But I cut you deep, and I know how it looks." But I mean, that's nitpicking. I'm really finding something out of nothing. And I gave this 1 star.
Oh, my God.
And I'm really thankful that they ran out of cigarettes and kush.
Oh. Yeah, but not soon enough, apparently. That's 6 minutes of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. I don't understand. Like, I get it in the sense that you're doing it to expand the genre and you're doing it to become big, but it's so long. Like none of his hip hop tracks until like all his grime tracks up till this point have been anywhere near as long. Like this is just crazy. It's almost 6 minutes. That's so long.
Yeah. see what you're saying. I agree with that point. I feel like there's always, in every review we do now, there's always this one track where I'm supposed to hate it the most and I end up giving it the highest rating. And this is that one. So this is like, first of all, this is not a Stormzy song. This is Lily Allen and Kehlani featuring Stormzy.
Yeah.
Like, what does he do? He barely does anything. Like, Lily Allen's presence on this song is immense. This is her song, really. Like, I find the chorus performed by Lily Allen to be very pleasant to listen to. She just hits all the right notes for me. It's definitely one that you can sing along to, I reckon. But, like, that is basically the only thing I like about the song. But it is a lot of the song. Lily Allen takes up a lot of the song, and I like what she's doing. I'm cringing all the way through Stormzy's verses and completely zoning out during Kehlani's verse. Like, she really does nothing for me on this song. And you said you liked the ending, Aaron, did you? A little bit.
Out of everything,
yeah,
that was me trying to find a positive light.
Yeah, I wasn't even feeling that. Like, he's trying to get deep into his feelings. I wasn't even feeling it. So that didn't work for me. Like, again, this is another song where Stormzy contributes literally nothing. And, like, at the end of the day, it's just a sappy love song, and, I ain't got no time for that. But, when a Lily Allen chorus is the best thing about your hip-hop song, you've done something wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm still giving it 2.5 stars, the highest out of all of you, because I really vibe to that chorus. I vibe a lot to it.
You're a Lily
I
Allen.
enjoy it. Yeah, Lily Allen's, I'm a fan.
She has a really nice voice.
Yeah.
Like if you liked her voice, Danny, you'd like the stuff that she does, because I like her accent in it. She doesn't do that, it's really common for people to put on an American accent.
Yeah.
She doesn't do that. She's not one of those artists who, like, fake puts it on. She, like, hits that British twang, and it works. And I'm pretty sure she's related to an actor from Game of Thrones. The dude who gets his penis chopped off?
Yeah, I was thinking that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's related. She's related to him. I think that's like her brother. So,
Okay.
Bit of fun fact.
Yeah.
It's coming up for the next album. So we've got Lily Allen, No Shame, released in 2018. It's going to be Danny's pick. So,
well, no, let's not go crazy. Like, I think I like her in moderation. I'm definitely not seeking out an entire Lily Allen album. But if she does a chorus or two every now and then, I won't complain.
Yeah. Fair enough. No,
thank God. Thank God for that, because if you were like, yeah, Lily Allen's my shit, I'd be really scared. I think you'd be sick or something. Alrighty. Track 20, not track 21. The numbers. Track 9, 21, Gun Salute, brackets, interlude.
Is anyone dying?
No, I don't think anyone is, but I see what Aaron, the more we go through this, I see what Aaron means about the back and forth, but now I feel like it's just on a downward spiral.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. This is another skipper. This is a skipper bloody roo. It hasn't added any value to my experience of this album. I don't know, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe there's like a deeper message. Like, there was like a little glimpse into Stormzy's personal life here, specifically the relationship with his brother, like, saying, Lord, I pray that my bro stops betting. Man, that roulette machine won't let him. But, like, I don't know. I'm reaching for something that I'm not sure is there in this. Like, too many interludes. Just get rid of, and also this interlude's like relatively shorter compared to the other ones. Like, I don't know, what are all these interludes? Just give me your first things first. Give me Cold. give me Bad Boys, give me Big for Your Boots, give me Mr. Skeng. I want that. Like, give me an album of that, and then I'll be.
It almost feels like a cop out by calling them interludes.
Yeah.
Like, you're not giving them their own title, so you're just going to call it an interlude as like, this wasn't really meant to be part of it in a way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like he's
nervous. You finish, Matt.
No, it's like he's nervous to sort of like commit to saying this is going to be a proper song, so I'll call it. I see what you're saying. I'll just call it an interlude. But like, what you have to go back to, like, what is the purpose of it on the track? Does it set up the next one? Like, I don't know. I didn't get that feeling. So it's like, is it even necessary then? Would it be better to either cut the duration of the album so it's like shorter, or would it be better to change this track so that it does like lead into the next one? I don't know. That's what I remember watching. So I am guilty of watching Dead End Hip Hop's review of this album, and
how dare you?
One of them said that
you always plug another hip hop review. Always, it's your addiction.
You got to give props to the OGs in the game of the reviewing. Like they even, one of them said themselves, like, they don't see a story in this album. Like, there's no, like, how like Royce is really good with concept albums, and like there's usually a story running throughout. Like this, there isn't that, and I see that. I definitely see that there isn't a story, and that sort of annoys me because I feel like it's just a collection of tracks and, in this case, interludes as well, that are there for the purpose of trying to hit as many different audiences as possible, rather than it being a concept album. And I get that, okay, not every album can be a concept album, but I don't know, I'm confused. I feel confused, and I feel the confusion that you were talking about before, Aaron. It's like back and forth. Like, yeah, I don't know. I wasn't a fan of this. I gave it 2 stars. Would skip.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say we've broken the trend of a banger and then a slow melodic song, but we've broken it in the wrong way. Now we have 2 melodic songs in a row, and like the content is a little better here. Like he's talking about 21 gun salutes, and like, talking about not wanting enemies for friends, and the idea that Stormzy doesn't want to end up dead like people he knows. It's kind of heartfelt in a gangster kind of way. He says, like you said, Matt, he does talk about his brother, and like he's got that line, and the bros say brap, gunshots at my wedding, you know how we do, flex on occasions, no more food, left it with Satan, Lord, I'm a different person, but Lord, why do they test my patience? So I like that, but you've touched on this in previous tracks, this is barely his track.
Mm-hmm.
Like, his verse is so slow, is so small, and Wretch 32, this is his track. He has 2 hooks for Stormzy's 1 verse, and his hooks are almost longer than his verse. So again, it rubs me up the wrong way when he just like own the track. This is your album. Own the tracks. Like, I don't mind if one song you've got a bunch of features on there and it's like your feature track, but now this is getting a little bit ridiculous. You've got a lot of features now. And like, I like the piano's slow piano beat. Like it's just not that good. And did anyone else pick on Wretch 32?
What do you mean pick on?
Pick up. Did you pick up on him butchering the English language?
No.
Give me an example. I may have. But
Tell me, how much times can I kill this game for them? How much times?
Yeah, but I feel like that's like an English kind of way of speaking.
But it's just not correct. It's so blatantly wrong. Like, maybe it's like hood.
Yeah, but they use lots of slang that doesn't make sense.
Okay, what's the slang here?
No, but like if you say, man don't care, they say that all the time. You can't say that in proper grammatical English. You can't say man don't care about all that, but they say that.
Yeah, but that's a phrase that makes sense. Much doesn't make sense here.
I think what you said did make sense, to be honest.
How much times?
Yeah, how many times?
Yeah, exactly. That's what it should be. It was like, I don't mind slang. Like, I like slang. I mentioned that, Stormzy goes tings.
Yeah.
I know he's saying things. But
Yeah. They all say that. That's a thing. Yeah. Drake says that. Drake bloody says that.
Yeah, that's a ting.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I like the theme. Wasn't delivered in the best way. And another song that I can skip, 2 stars. And I almost think that's generous, but yeah, 2 stars. I'm getting over it. Mate.
Oh God. Okay. So, this is going in a weird direction. Do you remember when I posted in our private message group, have you guys listened to the album?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I had just listened to the album. I went for a walk in my backyard. I was walking back and forth because of Corona. Yeah, I was, Corona. So I went for a walk in my backyard and I listened to the whole album and I was dumbfounded. I was there was points in the album where I was just laughing at how bad I thought it was. Genuinely laughing out loud in my backyard because this is horrendous.
Yeah.
And I was I wanted to probe you guys and say, are you thinking what I'm thinking? So that was my first reaction to the first time I listened to the album. And after listening to it many times and just through doing different shit around the house, and everything started to grow on me. This song definitely grew on me. This is probably a song I would have laughed at, and I really enjoy the sound of this song or this interlude.
Yeah.
I actually really vibe with Wretch 32's melodic contribution to this interlude, and I always find myself singing along with it. The instrumental has a peaceful, soothing feel to it, which perfectly complements what Wretch 32 is doing. Stormzy's contribution is just too short to make any sort of impact, though. I agree with that. And Aaron, you basically read. I don't think there was a lyric you didn't say of Stormzy's. You said his entire verse. He's also on his religious thing as well, which does nothing for me. But yeah, I don't know. It's just weird because I can definitely see myself, a version of me, saying this song is trash. A week ago, me, I'd be this song is trash, get rid of this shit. But today, me, after just sitting and absorbing it, subconsciously, I'm yeah, I can vibe to this for sure. So, I'm giving this song 3 stars just for Wretch 32, just for his melodic, contribution. And I'm adding on an additional 0 stars for Stormzy. So it's just a 3-star song. But I just want to say, speaking of Wretch 32, do you guys know anything about Wretch 32?
I know nothing about Wretchy.
Absolute zilch.
Yeah.
Well, I have in my grime phase, I came across the big Wretch. And I just want to take this time to recommend something. There's a Fire in the Booth freestyle that he did. You guys know Fire in the Booth?
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's you should, if you come doing your research and bloody typing in Stormzy's name in YouTube, you should come across this kind of stuff. Fire in the Booth with Charlie Sloth is a staple of the grime scene. You basically haven't made it until you've done a Fire in the Booth freestyle. Stormzy did one. I nearly fell asleep. It was pretty bad. But this was him early days. Wretch 32, he's done a few. He hasn't just done one, he's done a few. And they're all good, but there's one. And it features another rapper named Avellino. This Avellino guy is nothing special, but the particular freestyle features this guy. and Rich 32 absolutely murders it. So, like, he's actually a very talented rapper, and he's singing here. Like, he is such a good rapper. It's such a missed opportunity that he doesn't get a verse on this album, because just from what I heard from that freestyle, I downloaded that freestyle off YouTube and like put it in my Lyrical Miracles playlist, because you have to check it out. Fire in the Booth, Wretch 32, check it out. It's awesome. But this song, I like what Wretch 32 did here as well. 3 stars. Stormzy, 0 stars.
I like, the one thing I did like was when he gets into the back half of the hook and he really commits with passion.
Yeah.
The first part of it, skip, but the second part, he really commits, and that sounds way better.
Okay.
So that's why I upgraded it from 0 stars to 2 stars.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just at this point, I'm like, please just give me something I like, Stormzy, please.
But let me ask you guys this while we're actually on this. First reactions. Did have any of your opinions change from the first time you listened to the last time you listened?
Definitely.
Any ones that we've already touched on?
I actually have gone backwards I didn't mind the ones that I gave 1 star. And then the more I listen to it, the more I'm like, all right, I'm over this. This is really annoying me.
That's interesting.
I went backwards for those. And I went up, like, at first I didn't listen to the lyrics of, like, Cold and Bad Boys, and then I re-listened to the lyrics and I was like, okay, this is good. This is what I'm, like, I just listened to the beat. So a couple went up like 0.5 star, a couple went down. But there's the one we're about to review has changed.
Okay, interesting. Matt, what about you?
For me, so when I first listened, what I did was I did rate them. Like, I just gave them a star, but I didn't interrupt the album too much. I was just like, yep, this is 3, this is 4. And then interestingly, it hasn't changed much. There are some songs that have gone up or down like 1 star, but it hasn't been anything like dramatic. I remember Bad Boys being one of the ones I was like struggling with. I was like, is this a 3? Is this a 4? Initially it was a 3, but then it went to a 4. There's another one that's coming up, Rucksack, Return of the Rucksack, that changed recently. But like overall, I was quite surprised actually. I was like, most of my ratings from the very first reaction haven't changed that much. Which surprises me because I found out more about Stormzy after research, like listening to the album and watching like interviews and stuff. So I thought it would have, especially about the next song.
Okay. Well, that's a good transition.
Yeah. So I'm going to jump into this one, Blinded by Your Grace Part 2, because the first one wasn't enough, so we need a second one. A second 1-star track.
Do you think
no. It's not
one star, Aaron, to put these 2 together, like just do part 1 then part 2, like get them done? Like...
No, I don't.
Okay,
I don't, because I think they're completely different.
Okay,
but I'll tell you why. And when I first listened to this, I was like, I'm bloody scared. It's official. I'm scared because if this is anything like Blinded by Your Grace Part 1. I'll be speechless, because out of the first 10 tracks, 5 are hip-hop and 5 aren't. It's literally a 50-50 split. And it feels like there are 2 different albums here. And I'm going to touch on that at the end, but it feels like there's no continuity throughout this whole album. It just feels like a mishmash of random shit that have put together. But this track is epic in its sound. The whole track is the soul church vibe, and I love that choir. It just killed the hook, and without a doubt, it was the best part, and I even found myself singing along. Like, Stormzy's relegated, and I say relegated because to verse duty because the hook is the best part. He shouldn't be singing. He doesn't have some crazy bars because content-wise, this is like preachy Jesus stuff, which I'm also kind of getting tired of.
Yeah.
The features, M-Neck, he also does a good job. although probably I would have preferred a Stormzy verse, but this was my quotable if I had to choose one. This is God's plan. They can never stop this. Like, wait right there. Could you stop my verse? You saved this kid, and I'm not your first. I'm not by blood, and it's not by birth, but oh my God, what a God I serve.
I don't like that.
I mean,
he takes the Lord's name in vain. He says, oh my God, what a God I serve.
Well, he's hypocritical.
Outrageous. That is absolutely outrageous.
But I actually struggle to give this a final rating because it had that churchy soul vibe. But for content, I couldn't give it 5, and I gave it 4 stars. I gave this 4 bloody stars.
That is extremely surprising.
Yeah,
based on my other ratings, I was literally at home, just like down in the dumps after the previous few tracks, and then I just loved it. This just got me back up. 4 stars, baby. Please let this be the start of the comeback.
Jesus Christ.
I expected, out of all the people, I expected Aaron to hate this the most.
Yeah, same.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, Matt, you go.
Okay, I want to start off by saying that this is Stormzy's favourite song on the album. So this is the one.
Yeah, I can see that because it's like, you know, the image he's presenting on this album is he's like, you know, a born again Christian, and this is the song for that. Like, he is all about God now, and this is the song dedicated to God. So I can see why he'd love it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is his favourite track. I also said what Aaron said, like, obviously there was the part 1, so you knew this was coming. I knew, or I know now, that Stormzy is a fan of gospel music, so makes sense that something like this is on this album, especially given the title of the album. But unfortunately, if this type of content or this sound or, you know, this genre of music is not your thing, you're not going to like this song, in my opinion. Or chances are you'll probably hate it.
Well, you're wrong.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say, but that's not to say that maybe if you're like a more open person like Aaron, you can like still appreciate the sound of it. Like in terms of like, I get what he's saying. Like there is something infectious about gospel music. Like it draws you in, it makes you want to sing along. Like maybe that's a part of its craft. But I feel like the lyrics are going to throw a lot of people off. Like they're just not going to feel it. They're not going to want to feel it because maybe they're not religious people. I mean, I am, but like even for me, it just was a little bit cringy.
That's interesting.
I don't know. I guess it comes down to what I was expecting, and I wasn't expecting it until I knew more about Stormzy. So when you know more, then you're like, okay, makes sense. But I still, even though it makes sense, it's still not something I want to listen to from Stormzy. I don't know. This is something that I feel like he would struggle with a lot because there are probably a lot of his fans who would say the same thing, or maybe a lot of the fans say they want the gospel stuff. But yeah, it just wasn't really for me. I would say I'm somewhere in the middle though. Yes, I agree with you, Aaron. Sonically, it is pleasant to listen to. It's something that is easy on the ear. I'm not overly interested in gospel music though. I appreciate how he's trying to do something different. Like gospel/rap, I get it. MNEK definitely has a soulful voice, and it fits with the chorus really well. So what you were saying about it's better to have someone who's like a professional deliver the chorus than Stormzy sing it. Yep, I agree. I'm going to give it a pass because it's pleasant. It's a pleasant sound. It gives you an insight into Stormzy as a person and as well as like his creativity as an artist. So I'm going to give it a 3-star track. It's a 3-star track at the moment for me.
Yeah, because I didn't expect to like it as much as I did. Like, it surprised me how much I like it.
It's a testament to the
Yeah.
song, though, because you typically don't like this type of music. So it's like, that's a real compliment to Stormzy, because it's like, well, he's reached an
I
audience.
like the sound, though. I like the sound. If they sampled this and put it in like a boom bap hip hop track, I'd love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this song, you also love this song.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. So, like, if like I like a choir, a church choir seems to work for me. Like, it has this kind of, I don't know, it just works.
I don't think I can separate the content from the rest of the song, though, on this one anyway. Wow. I'll just start. So, Christian rap. Let's do this. Like, Christian rap is like an actual legitimate subgenre of hip hop. Like, there have been several rappers that like even crossed over to the mainstream who are like solely categorized as Christian rap or gospel rap. Like, do you guys know Lecrae? Heard of Lecrae?
No, I've never heard of Lecrae.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Like, I have heard of him. Like, I don't know much of his music, but I know that he's like, despite the fact you guys have never heard of him, he's a very successful gospel rapper. Like, he's had an album that was #1 on the Billboard charts, purely gospel rap. So there's obviously a big market for this kind of stuff. And yeah, so Christian hip hop is a thing, but it's not, obviously, my favorite subgenre of hip hop. And like, obviously the main reason is simply that I just do not relate to that topic, that content. I cannot relate to it. I have 2 Jewish parents. I'm the only Jew out of the 3 of us. I consider like, I have 2 Jewish parents, but I consider myself an atheist anyway. So I'm just clearly not the target audience for this subgenre of hip hop. And nothing against anyone that enjoys and relates to this type of religious message in their music, but this song is not for me. And on this song, Stormzy goes all in on the gospel rap here. Like, he's talking about how God saved him and God is responsible for all the success and all the good things in his life and how God is the best. Like, I mean, I don't really want to get into, on this podcast, I don't really want to get into it. Let's just say that, like, me and Stormzy don't share the same belief system and leave it at that. But as a result, this song does absolutely nothing for me. I can't get past the content. Like, I'm sure the music is pleasant, but I'm not listening to this again. I'm still giving it 2 stars because, he's clearly passionate about what he believes in. And yes, the choir vocals are pleasant. But yeah, 2 stars.
We had the whole spectrum on that one. 4, 3, 2.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of expected that. I expected mine to be the highest, to be honest.
I feel like on the album that is like not only the centerpiece for him, but would also be the centerpiece for a lot of people. Like, that would be.
Isn't it interesting that a lot of hip hop artists are like quite God worshipping?
Well, a lot of the world is.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, in terms of content that they rhyme about, it's like almost, it's just interesting to me. Because, like, if you rap about murdering people, but then you're like talking about God, they kind of seem like contradictory in a way.
Definitely is here. Like, he's this song is so heavily Christian hip hop. But, like, then other songs are like, I'll stab you with my knife. So, there's some kind of weird thing going on in this album that doesn't make sense. Like, whereas, people who are actually serious about, being Christian and all that and being rappers, they go all in. He went all in for this one song. Others go all in for their entire career. So
Yeah. Like, if you so strongly believe it and you've got your convictions, then that's what you sing about. But yeah, each to their own. But then again, we don't talk about our Jewishness very often, to be honest. So, but I guess it's probably because we're more culturally Jewish than we are any close to religiously Jewish.
yeah, exactly.
But moving on, before we get sidetracked into a religious discussion, this becomes the Jesus, Moses, and Noah podcast.
Struggled for a third, didn't you?
I did struggle. I don't know it that well.
Yeah. Matt can list like 10, 1,000.
Yeah, but that's but he could list John, Paul.
Here we go. Here we go.
Yeah, John, Paul, Harry, Mark.
Someone's been reading the Bible. Hello.
Anyway, moving on. Track 11, Return of the Rucksack.
Take it away, Aaron.
All right.
I'm taking one away and away.
I took away this last one. I'll let you take this away. Oh, Danny.
All right,
Danny.
I'll take it away. I'll take it away from you guys.
Okay, please.
All right.
I don't want to carry this rucksack anymore.
That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah.
So, like Mr. Skeng, this beat is a banger. Like, let's not beat around the bush. It is a banger. But, again, like Mr. Skeng, it's a banger in an average kind of way. It sounds like a clone of 100 other bangers I've heard in my lifetime. So, it still works, but I'm not wowed by it by any means. Stormzy opens the track really strong when he says, I don't want to be on Lord of the Mics with shit MCs. Nah, bro, I'm above that. Using my name for a dead bit of fame, trying to get up in the game? Yeah, right, and fuck that. After that, I was like, okay, let's go, Stormzy. Let's see what you got. Let's go. Turns out that's pretty much all he's got. Apart from those opening lines, it was pretty generic gangster talk for the most part.
I'm so glad you said that because this was a 5-star track for me originally. Then I think it was last night on after multiple listens to this whole album, I listened to it again and was I think because I liked the beat and overall I pretty much liked everything. I was paying more close attention to the lyrics, and then just on that listen last night, I was like, he's not saying shit in these lyrics.
Yeah, true.
And then it started to annoy me, and I was like, nah, you're not getting 5 stars for this track. You're getting 4 at best. So I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, well, we're all me and you are on the same page. Maybe Aaron is as well. But
maybe.
Yeah, there's no real screw face lyrics that made me want to go, that's nasty, dog. There's nothing like that. I think the hook works. I roll deep on these, put these MCs on deep freeze. I think, that's a hard line. That's a hard line on its own. So repeating it as a hook, it works for me. But, I don't know. I still like the energy he's bringing to the track. He, on first listen, it's oh, yeah, he's flowing, he's going. I can understand where the 5 stars was coming from originally. But the song overall, when you consider everything, it could have been harder. So I am giving this 4 stars.
But that's that makes sense. That's what I did as well. I gave it 4 too. Something Stormzy can do really, really well. He brings his energy when he brings it is fire. He's got this.
Yeah.
And like Aaron said, he's got this flow that is just so smooth. And for me, he's got this voice that's deep and commanding. And he's definitely got a presence about him, and that is only accentuated more when you see him in certain videos or performances. He has a presence. Could be because he's size 12 toes. I don't know, but he's definitely got that star factor about him, and I think that's a part of the reason why he's had so much success. So, give me more of Return of the Rucksack, but with more content. Give me. At times, I feel like a lot of his content is generic. Like he's no
Yeah.
Elzai, he's no Sci-Hi, like he's no Royce. Like he's appealing to a larger audience through generic raps.
Yeah, but I feel like also when he really has something to say, like when someone has actually pissed him off, then he can go really hard. But like on this one,
Yeah.
it's generic. Like he's not going at anyone. He's just trying to sound hard for no reason. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe I was too harsh there. Like he definitely does have like songs where the content is there, but my point is there are more songs where there is generic content than there is where there's like really deep content. Like
Yeah.
Like I like this. We're back to a banger with heavy drums and a piano and the grime beat. And I did, much like you guys said, it was a bit generic, but I also found it a little bit messy. Like it wasn't as clean as the other grime beats we've had. But this is a welcome change after 3 tracks of outside, in my mind, is the hip hop genre. And he has the flow, and I've said as well, I'm not sure he said anything of substance.
Yeah.
I wasn't particularly impressed by any lyricism, but he does have this line, I can spar and spray with my idols. Look, if I slap your face, it'll go viral.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
mm.
And then he also says, but broke ends shouldn't make a diss track. You broke ends should have been quiet. I'm cold, little N. Don't try it. Yeah, I think I'm the best. I'm biased. And I shoot for your chest like Pyatt. Now, I have a real problem with this line because Pyatt is I don't know how you're saying his name, but he's a soccer player. And he's known for a goal that he scored that he controls with his chest and then scores a goal with an overhead kick. But how does that connect with I shoot for your chest like Pyatt? He's not shooting for your chest. It doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, when you really, really break it down, it doesn't make sense.
If you know your football like you do, then you're probably going to be like, yeah, that doesn't make sense. But for me, it went completely over my head.
And so that annoyed me because it was like, I see what you're trying to do here, but it literally doesn't correlate.
Yeah.
And like, I actually didn't like the hook. I know you said you liked it, Danny, but I didn't like it. I thought it was too repetitive. But I just didn't think the production was that good here. We're back to mediocrity and we're back to 3 stars.
Oh, that's interesting.
For me,
Matt, yeah, go.
I thought it had a hard beat, and it's overall it's a track that I like, hence the 4 stars. I like the braggadociousness when he is being braggadocious on the track, like Danny's lyrics that you mentioned. I like fast-paced raps. There's no like surprises there. My favorite lyrics are, man, I told these ends that it's album time and I'll probably go gold on my debut. I like these lyrics, and I when in my notes I linked those lyrics to Genius because I think I need to talk about that a little bit. So, sorry, here it is, got it. So on Genius, in explaining those lyrics, you probably already know this, but so it's saying that he's obviously confident that his debut album, this album, is going to sell over 100,000 copies. And when I looked up the sales currently to date of this album, I was actually like quite surprised. Like I knew it did well, but I didn't know how well. So it's already certified platinum with 429,833 sales, which on the scheme of things in in the American industry, like it's not a lot, but like for a new grime artist in the UK, I imagine that's like quite good. So like that lyric, he's not only like, you know how when Shay Noir said something about like being in the top 5 and you're like, okay, that's not credible, you're not. But like,
Yeah.
he's gone and made this claim before he knew how successful the album would be, and like it didn't just go gold, it's gone platinum. So it's like it was a big call to make, but like he can stand by it and stand by it proudly. So I think I like that lyric because it was braggadocious, but he followed through. Like he believed in himself and it came true. So I like that. Also, charts wise, I don't know if either of you saw this in any of your research, but this is the first grime album to reach number one in the UK ever in history. So,
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
yeah, so I thought that was really interesting, and that's probably a part of why he's been criticised a lot by, grime artists, because they might argue this is not a grime album. So and
They're jealous.
yeah, it could be
Yeah.
that. But Stormzy's even said, this isn't a grime album. It has grime elements. There's other elements to this album, but nonetheless, it's still got that title as the number one, reaching number one in the UK for a grime album, which is a historical event. So, yeah, I like the song. I don't care much for the hook. Who cared? Which one of you cared for the hook?
I like it.
Did you, Aaron?
Roll deep on these, put these MCs on deep freeze, yeah. Roll deep on these, put these MCs on deep freeze. Works for me.
I almost prefer when you do it.
Thank you.
Shout out to Stormzy. Yeah, get Danny on the hook next time. I don't care for the hook. I don't. This is real nitpicky. That occasional keyboard that comes in detracts from the punchiness of this beat, and I do not like that keyboard at all. So yeah, it's still it was a 5-star, but because of the content of the lyrics, the average hook, and that keyboard, I've downgraded it to a 4 stars. But those lyrics, really like those lyrics. Yeah.
Interesting. We haven't really synced up much so far in this review, have we?
At the
Like
start.
a lot of at the start, and then we've just been a little bit all over the place.
Yeah, we have. It's interesting.
But I have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
Do you think the rucksack is one of the 100 bags?
Jeez, I thought it was going to be a genuine question.
That's why the transition was so good.
Yeah, no, you interrupted what Matt was going to say just to do your shitty little transition. How rude.
I'm sorry, Matt. Did you have
No, it's all good. I had finished, so but thank you for the.
All right, track 12, 100 bags.
I'd like to start this off, if I may.
Me too. Okay, so 100 bags.
This is so good. This is such a good song. It just hits me right in the feels. This is like how I imagine if you were religious and you're into Christian rap, how Blinded by Your Grace Part 2 would have hit. Like, this hit me in the feels. So I was like, I'm immediately going to love this song. So no surprises. This is 5 stars for me. The verses, heartfelt and meaningful. I love how he slows it down a little bit to match the feel of this song. It's low key, it's smooth. I'm talking about the instrumental now. But it builds. I love how it builds throughout the track. I have favorite lyrics, and they are. Back then, I was bumping cabs south of the Thames, where I come from's mad. Done some dirt, and I ain't too proud that you're living on the road where your son got stabbed. Man, I had you on station, your son got nabbed. Tough luck, just mums, no dads. And we all know growing up in London's mad. Mummy ain't never seen 100 bags. Like, I know I've sort of...
You stole my line, Matt. They were exactly my quotables.
Yeah, but Aaron, your line is the entire verse. Of course he's going to steal it.
It's just so... Like, now he's getting into some more content that I can, like, dig. Like, this is some real shit he's on now. Like, talking about where he's grown up, talking about his previous job, talking about, like, how he did some shady shit that he doesn't condone, talking about how he got stabbed, like, geez. And also talking about how, he had a single parent family, and, his family never saw, specifically his mum never saw, like, real money, real sort of luxury that she can see now. So I was just like, that's deep. I love that. In this interview I watched, Stormzy wrestled with the frustration of non-Brits thinking Britain is a safe place compared to the likes of, say, America, which he challenged by saying that there are gangsters living in England, and some parts of London are in fact really dangerous places. And that's further evidenced by those lyrics that you just said. I'm not a big fan of the long repetitive bridge towards the end of the song. That's my one nitpick. But other than that, I loved it. I got Drake vibes for the first time from this song, instrumentally, and Tupac vibes, content-wise, like Dear Mama.
Yeah, clearly Tupac vibes.
Yeah. But in some other content I watched, another reviewer said that they felt like Stormzy is heavily influenced by Drake, and I hadn't seen that until now. But now that I've heard that critique, I start to hear it a little bit more. But even so, I'm like, whatever. Drake's successful, Stormzy's successful. It's whatever makes you successful and you're happy with. So, yeah, I don't mind. But yeah, I loved it. 5 stars. Would listen to this again any day, and it gives you more of an insight into his personal life and his relationship with his mum.
Danny, what do you think?
What did I think? I could have easily swayed to, Matt's line of thinking. This could have been an easy 5 stars. Let's break it down. The intro is just too long. It's a nice touch to have his mother appear on the track that is about her, but she just goes on and on with the religious talk and the blessings and God and Jesus, and it's too much. Too much for me.
Yeah.
So, not a great start. I love when rappers make songs for their mothers, though. These types of songs, they're, extremely genuine and heartfelt. It shows that even, the hardest gangster rappers have a vulnerable side to them. And, nearly everyone can relate to a song like this. One of my favorite songs of all time is Dear Mama by Tupac. That song is just so raw and real and just genuinely moving. I love that song. Hey Mama by Kanye West is another great one. Even Stacey's Mum. Come on, classic. But
I like Stacey's Mum.
Yeah, so do I. But compared to those songs, which you do have to compare this to, Stormzy doesn't quite reach the bar for me. At the end of the day, this is just a poor man's version of Dear Mama. The content is basically exactly the same. Single mother, no father around, he fell in with the wrong crowd, he sold some drugs, he had run-ins with the law, but now he's a successful rapper and he's going to look after her now. All of that, every single point is covered in Dear Mama, and Tupac did it better. He did it way better. So the instrumental is okay for me. It's nothing special. The hook is mediocre at best. He does that annoying thing again where he, the first 8 bars, every line ends with mum. Mum, mum, mum. We know this song is about your mum, relax. But, it's a nice message. I'm still a sucker for these types of songs. It warms your heart a little just to hear stuff like this. You can't, be human and not feel something about a song like this. But, it's not a bad song. But it's essentially a home brand version of Dear Mama. So I'm giving it 3.5 stars.
It's a big sway when you said I could easily be swayed. That's a 1.5 stars. That's a very big sway.
Yeah, but I laid it all out. I have my reasons.
Yeah.
And the reason why it could have been 5 stars is because this is the exact type of song that I would love if done in an original way, and this wasn't.
Yeah.
However,
I agree.
That's this is his this is his own experience. So it's I know.
But his experience is identical to Tupac's.
I know, but that's literally his experience. So it's like, how can he like twist it up anymore? Like, otherwise it wouldn't be genuine. It wouldn't be what happened.
Yeah, well, he can't. But that I see what you're saying, but unfortunately, he has the same story as Tupac, and I'm going to listen to Tupac.
The fact that he's even in the same conversation of Tupac, though, is a huge compliment.
No, because he made a song exactly like Tupac's. That's why he's in the conversation.
Did you find that his mum saying things was very similar to in Biggie's album? Like his mum was on the end of the album and saying thank you. I just had this like flashback to Biggie and
Which
his
album?
Mum. His second one.
Yeah, I've got to be honest. I've never listened to that all the way through.
Really?
Yeah, just because it's a double album, and I've listened to it, in bits. I've listened to it all, and there are definitely songs that I just don't like, and it's too long. Yeah. So I picked and choose my favorites.
She has like a thank you that she says to the fans, to the crowd, but she does it in her own track. So I almost would have preferred his mum saying something in her own track. To me, there's something more powerful if like you give the words to your mum their own meaning, and like you've got so much that you have your own track.
Yeah.
I think that this was trying for more than it delivered, because I'd probably skip his mum speaking because you're right, Danny. She talks a lot about God, and just at this point I'm over it. But like the beat is good and trappy in parts, but it's not great. To me, it's missing a beat in the feel of a heartfelt song. Like, reason I think Dear Mama is so good is because the beat matches the content. And I'm not sure the beat matches content here. Like, it didn't feel as much of a thank you as I think he was trying to bring across. And I think the constant repetition of 100 bags actually just made me lose a little bit. Like, 100 bags, he's either talking about money or like, I don't know, it just doesn't hit me the right way.
I thought it was about drugs for the longest time. Like, she never had to see the drugs he was dealing, but I don't think that's right. No. But there's different ways you can interpret it.
Yeah, so I don't know, I didn't feel like this was a real track for introspection. And we're going to see one that is, in Lay Me Bare, the last track, is a track where he's introspective and is a real heartfelt song.
Yeah.
This felt almost like it was there to be as one of those things where he's like, I'll check out this song where I thank my mum.
Yeah, it's checking a box.
That's how it felt.
Yeah.
Because of that, he didn't really say anything that blew me away. Like, he didn't really delve into his own mindset that much. Like, even though his story is similar to Tupac's in a way, he could have delved more into his mindset. But I think he was leaving stuff out. So for that, I gave it 3 stars. I don't think it's complete. I think he's on the right track, but there's more to be said in this.
Did this go how you thought, Matt?
No, it didn't.
Yeah. You had to have imagined that we'd both give it like 5 or close to.
Yeah. Yeah, I did.
Which I would have liked to.
I see what you're saying about the intro, though. I did think that was long as well, and I didn't like the bridge. So there are elements to the song that definitely aren't perfect. But I don't know. I wouldn't have been disappointed if he hadn't have done a song like this. However, for the fact that he did, I'm like, okay, I like that. Whether it was tokenistic or not, which I don't feel it was, definitely feel it was genuine. I think it added value to this album. And like, if you think about like the title Gang Signs in Prayer, well, like he's essentially like writing a prayer to his mum. Like you could argue, he's saying thank you for all that you've done. And now I'm going to look after you. And I don't know. I'm down with that. I can dig that. I think it's less preachy it's less preachy than Blinded by Your Grace Part 2.
Yeah, but they're different. Like, but he's thanking his mum. I just didn't feel as strong as it could have been for something that is so close to his heart.
So you think he poured out more on Blinded by Your Grace Part 2 than this?
No, because I think that's a false equivalency to compare those two. We'll go this. We'll revisit this, but compare the last track, Lay Me Bare, and this one, and then you'll know what I'm talking about.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So we'll go into Lay Me Bare later, but I'll run back around to this one, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Because there's definitely a different level.
He definitely talked about more in Lay Me Bare than this. Like he's gone into more concepts, I think.
We'll see, because I don't want to talk about Lay Me Bare right now.
You baited me.
It's okay. Don't cry. We'll move on. Hopefully we'll all match up on the next one.
I saw that coming.
Yeah.
Track 13, Don't Cry for Me.
Argentina.
Yep. Didn't get it.
Don't cry for me, Argentina. No one?
The truth is...
Hey! We got one fan in the building.
All right, Danny, why don't you kick this one off, baby?
All right. Don't Cry for Me, featuring who? Rayleigh. Is it Rayleigh Ritchie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's go with Rayleigh Ritchie. So the hook, or let's call it a chorus. I feel like calling it a chorus for this one, by Rayleigh Ritchie, is like definitely something you can sing along with, or at least I can. That little post-chorus part, though, where he repeats, "Don't cry for me," feels a little unnecessary, though. Like,
yeah.
Rayleigh Ritchie sings his heart out during that chorus. So, after that, the repetition of "just don't cry for me" just seems weak in comparison.
Yeah.
But I love what he was doing on the actual chorus. I really like the content from Stormzy on this one. He uses both verses to get real about, the street life and that ride or die mentality. What really stood out to me was when he said, "Now I'm just picturing Charms all dressed in white on the steps with Christ, trying to tell my young G's to relax and invest in life. They invest in knives. Man, I was in my history class when my brethren died, so vexed that I cried. But I come from a place where the man dem can't let shit slide, so we rest in pride."
Just quote the whole song, why don't you?
Hey!
Is there anything you haven't quoted?
Yeah, I pulled an Aaron. I definitely pulled an Aaron there.
Yeah.
Love the lyrics.
But
I agree. I had that as well.
yeah, when it's the best part of the song, you have to quote it.
Yeah.
And I just love that, the rest in pride. So we rest in pride. It's such an interesting turn of phrase, because you hear about this stuff all the time. Like, someone feels like they're being disrespected, and because your reputation is everything in the streets, things turn violent and people die. And it's all because they were too proud to just let it go. Sometimes it's over the smallest things too. It's just sad. So rest in pride. I never heard that before, and I think it's a really interesting phrase to use.
Rest in pride, yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
So you connect it to rest in peace there, wouldn't you?
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, because you usually say rest in peace, but they gangsters, they rest in pride because the reason they die is over some pride shit. That's pride fucking with you. Marcellus Wallace, Pulp Fiction. I'm giving this 4.5 stars just because it's not exactly my type of song. But I really like it for what it is. So 4.5 stars.
That's interesting. That's very interesting.
Thank you.
So far, I'm probably most surprised with like Danny's ratings. Like, I expected a lot more trash than like he's given.
Trust me, I am surprised by my ratings.
Yeah. But I'm interested to see like these last few tracks. what your ratings are, because I feel like we've got to sync up on the last few.
Yeah. Wait. So you guys you're not syncing up with me. It's interesting.
Let's wait and see.
Well, clearly not.
Why don't you go, Matt?
Yeah, you've already hinted at it.
Okay.
Yeah, the run up to yours has been wonderful.
All right. It's
mate, don't kiss your teeth, mate. Come on.
Give it a little kissy. This is just elaborating on what he's already sort of made reference to in earlier tracks about, there is some real nasty shit going on where he's from, and, it's reality for a lot of people. So it's like he's just trying to get that message out there that it's not all like biscuits and tea in Britain, It's there's other shit going on.
Where'd you get that from?
Literally just straight off the top of the dome, mate.
Oh, whatever.
I like it.
It's my ideas in it. So yeah, it's just the challenges that some people living here face on a daily basis. Conscious rap, I'm a sucker for it, so I'm going to like it immediately. I admire how openly he addresses the issues as well. Like he doesn't sugarcoat anything. Favorite lyrics are the ones that you mentioned, but a lot shorter. I like the invest in life, the invest in life rather than invest in knives. I think that's a cool play on words. I also think that imagine sitting in school. Like, it doesn't matter what class, but just imagine sitting in school and then finding out in school that like one of your best friends has died. Like that's just like you can't really comprehend that unless you've been through that. So I thought that's why those lyrics were particularly powerful. I like the smooth and soulful hook and beat as well. However, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think all of the content in the hook relates exactly to the song, and that annoyed me for some reason. I couldn't connect everything in the hook with what Stormzy was rapping about, so I was like, that's a bit strange. But
you might be right, but to be honest, I think he's just singing so well that I'm vibing to it.
Yeah, fair enough. Very cool. Overall, a good song though, and I'll give it 4 stars.
So what was the problem with me giving it 4.5?
No, there's no problem.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem.
No, but no, not a problem. But you were so shocked that I gave it half a star more than you.
No, I'm just saying. I was speaking generally about this album so far. I don't know. I think I just expected less from you.
So you expected me to give it a shit score?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm going to jump in.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Matt, you were about to say something. Sorry.
No, go. You go.
Sorry, you just sometimes take a long pause and I just sort of all right, let's jump in.
Right.
Another emotional song from Stormzy. He's talking about gang life, his reflections on, the lifestyle of, on the streets. And this beat I really like. It's just got a nice vibe to it. Heavy drums, vocal sample. But yeah, I think there's a trumpet in there as well. And I'm like, yep, all right, I'm liking this. But did anyone else feel like this was 2 separate tracks? I kind of felt like Rayleigh Ritchie was on a different track to what Stormzy was on. I could see them on different tracks.
Well, that's basically what Matt was saying, wasn't he?
Were you, Matt?
No.
He was saying that what Rayleigh Ritchie was saying didn't really match what Stormzy was doing.
I didn't think they were separate tracks, but I was just I didn't think it matched up super well.
Yeah, so I think that's where my critique is. I like what they each do individually. I like Rayleigh Ritchie's hook. I think he does a fantastic job. It sounds really good.
Yeah.
And I think that Stormzy also sounds good. He's talking about some real shit. He's saying, what have I done to deserve this life? I got brothers in the pen that I'll never see again. Got my brothers them serving life, and I know what you think it serves them right, but I come from a place where you burn or die, or we turn and ride. So don't blame us when you turn to the dirt. We tried. I just pray we fly, yo. He's just saying, he's actually talking about some real stuff. and I can draw a direct parallel between this and 100 Bags, and he goes further in this than in 100 Bags. Like you said, Matt, imagine being in your history class and figuring out why one of your friends, one of your brethren died.
Mm.
That's a level of depth that he doesn't have in 100 Bags.
Mm.
But I think for me, because the composition doesn't seem to work as well, I gave this 3.5 stars.
Huh.
Just for composition alone. That was why. It wasn't anything that they individually did, but it just didn't match.
Interesting. I guess I just enjoyed both elements. And they may have been, in contrast to each other, but I just enjoyed what both of them were doing. But I just enjoyed it all overall.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah.
Look, at least one of us got to be crazy.
Right? Oh, God.
Track 14, Crazy Titch Interlude.
Yo.
I might jump in here.
Okay.
Jump. Mate, you're always jumping. You jump all over the place in these podcasts.
I've got a lot of energy.
Yeah.
Did you guys know who Crazy Titch is?
Not
I have a feeling I'm about to find out.
well, not
You
until
are.
I geniused it at last night. I was like, oh, while I'm writing about this track, I should probably see who this guy is. And then I found out, I was like, oh, this I upgraded.
Oh.
Well, I'm going to say right now, I didn't rate it because it's an interlude with no vocals. But I'm going to give my critique. I'm interested to see what Matt says, though.
Yeah.
So, Crazy Titch got convicted for murder in 2005 because apparently he killed a producer because his brother was quote-unquote disrespected in a song.
There you go.
He's drawing back to what you were talking about, Danny, that people literally in a song would murder each other.
Yep.
Whereas like in the States, there's just like, they more diss each other rather than actually killing each other.
I feel like it happens in the States too.
Yeah, but it's like this is the perfect example.
Yeah.
And he was sentenced to 30 years in prison.
Mm.
So he's still in prison to this day and is actually calling out from prison.
What a crazy titch.
Yeah. And apparently he's one of the OGs of grime. Like he was in grime. Obviously, if he committed the murder in 2005, he was one of the OGs, and real OG.
Okay.
So it's interesting that Stormzy got him on the album because it's weird to me, as we've said before, that he's getting a convicted murderer on his album and he's talking about God.
Yeah.
Pretty sure one of the first 10 commandments is thou shalt not kill.
Oh, Matt, is he right?
He is right. He's right.
Oh, he's done it.
So there's a little bit of hypocrisy here that you get like this gangster, like this dude who murdered people, and you're like, come on my Gang Signs and Prayer album and I'm going to just like let you speak for 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Which is also crazy long.
Mm.
Like, it's okay. It's cool. And he has a lot of Matrix references because apparently that's probably the only movie he gets to watch.
I just love that so much, though.
But I just thought that's the only movie he watches in prison because they came out in like 2001 or 2000.
Yeah.
Like that's really old.
1999.
Or 1999. There we go. I like it, but just it shows me potential. It's really long. It's a long interlude. I just want to get back to the album because, to be honest, it was just too long. Like 30 seconds of that. 30 seconds of going, you're the Neo, you're the next. If anyone doubts you, they shouldn't doubt you. Done. Move on. But 2.5 minutes of this shit is way too long.
Yeah.
Well, he only gets one call a week. I think he wants to use it.
I just wanted I also want to do some jumping, and I want to jump in. And just quickly, because Matt's got this whole speech prepared, and I just have a couple of words. The Matrix thing, I love that shit. Like, this is shit talking at its finest. Like, Stormzy being Neo and seeing the game in zeros and ones, that is genius. Like, that would have made for a killer verse if he decided to turn that shit into a run. But, yeah. 2.5 minutes is too long. But I'm not mad at this. Like, I genuinely enjoy listening to it because of the pure shit talk that Crazy Titch is doing. So I'm not rating it, but I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, but I want to see Matt's rating.
So first of all, thank you, Aaron, for explaining that. Like you said everything literally that I was going to say, and I didn't appreciate it as much until I knew like what you explained. I think that was cool. That he got him
Well,
on the album.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that until just then, but I appreciated it anyway.
Yeah. I think I get what Aaron's saying about he is a convicted murderer, but like that also, you could argue, oh, well, the album Gang Signs and Prayers, so it's like you have the gang side, and he was a part of the gang side, and Stormzy's like was a part of that, but now he's more a part of the prayer side. Like he's trying to become more a part of the prayer side. He's like praying for people who have been a part of the gang to invest in lives rather than invest in knives or invest in guns or whatever it might be. So it's like, I feel like this album and that decision, like, yes, controversial, but I think also warranted. I think it's like, I feel a lot of people would question Stormzy whether he is or was ever associated with gangs, like without knowing him. They would be like, he's a poppy, mainstream, like hip hop artist who does songs with Adele and Ed Sheeran. Like, what does he know about street life? So it's sort of like this is a little slight nod to him saying like, I did know people, like, or I do know people who have done some bad shit. And you know, it's also almost like a nod to the haters in grime that they're getting this guy to say what he said about him, because I don't think Stormzy is well received in the grime community. Like a lot of people do not like him or do not like what he stands for. So he's basically,
Yeah, I get that feeling as well.
Yeah.
Heaps of people don't like him.
Yeah. Like, so I feel like he, by getting this guy and this guy agreeing to doing this, is like almost like a coming of age, like for Stormzy in the grime community, saying that I am accepted and this is the guy who said it, an OG, like you said, Aaron. So it's like, I love this. I think this is really good. And it perfectly precedes the next track. Like it leads into it so well. So originally I gave it 3 stars, but I upgraded it to 4. The lyrics on the interlude made me laugh. I appreciated the comparison. The Matrix one, I thought, like you said, Danny, that was really funny. And yeah, there's not really much not to like about this. Obviously, it doesn't have music behind it, but this to me is like an interlude that adds value to the album. So I would not usually skip this, I don't think, because I think it leads so well. Like the last lyrics in this interlude are, or it's not the very last lyrics, but he alludes to like saying "shut up." Yeah, he says, like, so I don't want to hear my man say I'm too gangster to listening to Stormzy. Shut up, that's a lie. You ain't. And then I think he says something else again. But anyway, like I think it just, for me, when I first heard it, I was like, oh, like then it feeds into shut up. I was like, yeah, this is cool, because it's like I'm saying shut up to all of the haters who don't respect me in grime or just don't respect me in general. Like I don't care. I've been respected by Crazy Titch. I know my value. I know what I bring. So shut up. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like last thing I'll say about that is I feel like Stormzy's in a really tricky place, and I think that's partially why he made. I haven't listened to it, but I'm actually really excited to listen to Heavy as the Head, because I feel that's like the place he's in right now is the exact reason why he titled the next album Heavy as the Head, as well as the content that I've heard is in that album. Like he's in a really tricky place where like he wants to be successful, and he wants to be a part of grime, but grime doesn't necessarily want him to associate themselves with grime because he's doing other things related to him becoming or wanting to become more successful. So he's in this really weird place where it's like mainstream doesn't fully accept him because he does some grime shit that can't go on the radio, but then grime doesn't fully accept him either because he does mainstream shit with people who they don't want associated with grime. So it's like he's in this like really tricky place, yet he's still being called in London as like this, hero who's going to break through, like, and bring hip hop or English hip hop, British hip hop to the mainstream. So it's like he's got a lot of responsibility on his shoulders, and I feel like he doesn't have a lot of friends around him supporting him other than like a very few people.
Yeah, Flips.
Yeah. Flip,
We hear who? Rachel.
Yeah.
Rachel and Flips.
Yeah.
They're the main crew.
Yeah.
No, it's interesting stuff.
Yeah, that is interesting. It's just, I didn't expect it. When I looked into it, I just didn't expect that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, it's time for Matt to shut up and move into...
Oh, nasty dog. I like that. It's a good one.
Yeah, he likes it because I didn't tell him to shut up. But let's move into track 15, second last track of the album. Danny, why don't you kick this one off, baby?
Can I kick off the next one?
No, that's Matt's last one.
Because I just don't have much to say. I feel like both of you have more to say about the last one than me, so I want to get it out of the way. Maybe I'll go first for both. I'll go first for both.
I can go first for this one then.
Okay.
This is the one track of this whole album that I've heard before. So I actually have this song in my Spotify. And it's less of a song and more of a freestyle to me. Like, the beat is simple and it just allows Stormzy to go for it. Like, it's a little bit different to other grime beats in that it's not as aggressive, but it works for me. And he sounds good, but I don't think he hits his best. Like, he's solid. He's solid in this, but it's definitely not as aggressive as we've seen. Like, as in First Things First, as in, like, Bad Boys Cold. He just doesn't reach those heights. But he has some good bars. Except, he also has one that I'd rather forget.
Uh-oh.
Hot chocolate and a panini to go.
It's funny.
That was funny.
How gay. No, that was corny. I didn't like it.
It's
Didn't
funny.
work for me.
It's funny. Hot chocolate and panini to go.
Yeah, I like it. I'm about that life.
Me too, actually. I love a hot chocolate and panini to go.
I'd like it to stay. But then he had some good lines like, they catch feelings, I catch bodies, they roll deep, I roll squatty, got about 25 goons in my posse. He's also got kill a whole crew of MCs on my own, kill a whole crew of MCs for the throne.
Mate, take all my lyrics, why don't you?
I will.
Yeah.
I'll just take a couple more if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Can I order a deathbed for our MC? Wait, he wants beef? Let me make that too. Anyone else want to make that move? Anyone else want to pay their dues?
Hey, there's two Jews right here.
I knew that was coming.
But he really does say Jew. Like, he fully says Jew. Like, not do or anything. It's Jew.
Yeah, if anyone wants to pay us as well, please.
Yeah.
We're not going to say no. But I think this was a good track overall. Not perfect. His flow's not his best, so I gave this 4.5 stars. It's close.
Okay.
My mind is absolutely blown on this because I thought there was going to be a definite 3-5 stars, like 100%, no doubt in my mind. Like,
yeah, you're only going to get 2, Matt. You're only going to get 2.
I'm going to go for this, like, straight up. This is, like, insane. This is so good. Like, I get what Aaron's saying about the aggressiveness, the hardness compared to, like, some of the other tracks, but I don't even care. He's literally just doing this for fun. It sounds fun to him, like, or to me. Like, it sounds like and the story behind it also immediately makes it 5 stars, that he's literally just in the park with his boys, just, like, going to the park. That's another thing. Like, I think one of the reasons why, myself included, and other people don't naturally gravitate towards this type of music like grime is because, like, they've never been to, like, England, or they like haven't spent enough time here to understand different references that Stormzy weaves into his songs. Like, this one, like he mentioned it earlier, like what was that line about him being in the park and he just charted or something like that? Like going to the park in London or just in England is such a big vibe. Like I would associate it with back home going to like the pub or going to the beach. Like it's just a thing that people do so often on the weekend. Go to like the supermarket, get like beers, get like things to eat, and just go sit in the park and have like picnics. And it might sound really strange and lame, but it's like it's just a thing. And like the fact that he went to the park with his boys, which is a typical like London thing to do, and spit a freestyle, like that then was not only dope, but then was dope enough to be put on the album. Like, yes, it's not even a song. Like I wouldn't say it's a song, yet it fits so well. It holds its own. I'm for it. I think I agree. It was the first song I heard even before listening to this album. But the thing that you need, I think you can't listen to this. Well, you can listen to this song, but what makes it better if you watch the video. If you watch the video while you're listening to the song, it just elevates it even more. It's just so cool with his crew around him, like shouting the different, it's just like, oh,
you ain't even Lord of your yard.
Yes. And like the start when it's like state your name and it's like Stormzy in it, and it's like,
hey, Stormzy in it,
and he's like laughing about it, like he looks like he's genuinely about to have some fun. He's like, and what we doing today? And he's like, repping, innit? He's like, yeah, fucking repping, isn't it? Yeah, he's like, yeah, fire in the park, let's go. I'm like, it's just so cool. Like, yeah. What else did I write about this? I said that there's nothing I don't like about this song. The instrumental is really unique. And one reaction video that I watched, it was an American one. They hated it. They shat on it so much. But I think it comes from a place that they're not used to hearing that sound. So they just didn't get it. It's bars upon bars. It's a simple yet effective and relevant intro and outro. Like the intro and outros are funny. It has everything. And I would say my favorite lyrics from this track, this captivating and entertaining and funny track are, yeah, I'm the best. I'm so cocky. I've got a mob like ASAP Rocky. I set trends and then copy. They catch feelings. I catch bodies. Like, oh, it's just like,
yeah.
And I love in the video as well, that line makes more sense in the video because it's like, I've got a mob like ASAP Rocky and his mob's like literally there behind him. Like, yeah, it's fire, absolute fire. Without a doubt for me, 5 stars.
Yeah, that's correct. Aaron is wrong. Let's move on. Nah. Yeah, so like you said, this is the, went to the park with my friends and a charted song that he mentioned on Cold.
Yeah.
And I watched the video as well, and I did know this song from back in the day. And they've obviously touched it up a bit. They've mixed it properly, made it album quality. So I appreciate that a lot. Like it sounds crisp on the album.
Yeah.
Whereas in the video, you can tell it's booming out of a bloody Yui boom or whatever.
Yeah.
So awesome. It's like, Aaron, it's not the kind of beat you'd expect for a song like this. It's not a banger. It doesn't slap. It's not even hard. But like, it's unique and it works incredibly well here. Like Stormzy makes it work is the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I didn't say this is garbage. Like, it's 4.5 stars. Let's not get it twisted. Like, I'm not saying this is trash. I'm saying it just was really close. It just didn't hit that 5-star for me.
Yeah. Like, and this is just a one-verse wonder. No singing, no hooks, just straight bars. And, like, someone clearly pissed him off, and this track was his response. Like, all that stuff he's saying about, how he's saying, I'm a backup dancer, people calling him a backup dancer at the start?
Yeah.
Shut up.
Do you know that? Do you know what happened there with that?
Yeah, I was, as it was happening, I was following that story.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I believe what happened is, Kanye debuted a song at the Brit Awards in, 2015. Like, this was, all the hype. Was this, around Life of Pablo? I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like the build up to Life of Pablo or something. And like I was so excited, so I was following everything Kanye was doing, and he debuts this song at the Brit Awards, and Skepta's there, and he invites a whole bunch of grime MCs on stage during the performance just to stand in the background. And Stormzy was one of those guys standing in the background while Kanye performed that debut song.
Yeah.
And people called him out for it. People called out all the people on stage for it. But Stormzy, because he was like blowing up at the time, they called him out too. And like, I actually don't think there's anything wrong with what Stormzy and Skepta and all those other guys did. Like, it was a good look for the grime scene. It was putting grime on the world stage. And like, anyone calling them out is just jealous. That's all it is. But yeah, so I like the story behind it, and you know, it was good that someone called him out because we got this track out of it. So I appreciate that. And yeah, you guys took all my bars, but those are killer bars. This is my type of song. Hard bars from start to finish. 5 stars.
We were close.
I only found out those first 8 bars from Genius saying that, you know, where he's like, man, try, say he's better than me, tell my man shut up, mention my name in your tweets, oi, rude boy, shut up. So he's referencing there, or it's believed he's referencing Cadell, who is Wiley's older brother.
Oh.
I did not know that.
And apparently he posted a series of very blunt and direct tweets dissing Stormzy for using Zydot's Ninja instrumental when Wiley had allegedly done it first. So, it's just like that back and forth grimy, like beefing shit, I think. Inspiration for that. But, yeah, I feel like he's definitely going in at a few people here, like obviously them and then the Brit Awards thing and...
Yeah. It's all good shit.
That makes sense.
It's all good shit.
Yeah. Have you watched the video, Aaron?
No, I haven't.
Oh my God. I'm going to post it in our group, and you just, after this or whenever you get a spare moment, just watch it. It's just entertaining. It's such a simple video, yet for some reason, I couldn't take my eyes off it.
It's cool because he's just, it's like, you know, he's casually in the park with his mates. Someone chucks on a beat from a Yui Boom, and that's all one take. He just goes from start to finish.
Yeah.
It's just cool to watch, but you know, it's not mind-blowing like Matt's making it out to be, but it is a cool video.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind when I watch it.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do it. The build-up to Lay Me Bare has been absolutely huge.
I know.
We've mentioned it 4 times throughout this review, but track 16, Lay Me Bare.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm jumping in.
All right, I'm jumping in, boys. All right, jumping in. So, Lay Me Bare. All right. 1 star.
Whoa! Controversial. No, I only wanted to go first because, from what I've heard you guys say about it, I feel like you'll have way more to say, especially you, Aaron. So I just want to get my shitty review out of the way, and then you guys can bring it home strong.
Yeah.
All hip hop albums, like we've seen in all our reviews so far, end with a personal, introspective song, and Stormzy follows that formula here. And like the title of the track says, he really does lay it all bare on this track. It's such a raw and emotional song. He gets very real about his depression, especially when he says things like, "Man, I get low sometimes, so low sometimes, airplane mode on my phone sometimes, sitting in my house with tears in my face, can't answer the door to my bro sometimes." I think everyone can relate to that in some way. Airplane mode on my phone sometimes, that's me all the time.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear anyone call
Yeah,
it
but that's different.
Yeah, it's different, but in a way it's the same, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, there's multiple reasons why I don't want to hear people calling me on the phone. Then in the second verse, he's talking about meeting his absentee father for the first time, which, didn't go so well. He's talking about people he lost either through death or just from growing apart. Like, it's all relatable stuff. Like, Stormzy touches on a lot of difficult subjects here, and he does it all extremely well. Like, I was really impressed. The reason I'm not giving this 5 stars...
What?
Yeah. The reason I'm not giving this 5 stars is just, like, the content is amazing. Don't get me wrong. The beat is just too much of a downer for me. It's a very downer beat. You gotta be in a mood. And the hook is, like, slightly too long and wordy. So I'm actually giving this 4 stars, but still a great song. But 4 stars for me.
Wow.
Matt, I know you didn't expect that.
Did not. This is the same level as like, well, not the same. Well, it's the same level as Shut Up, because I gave it 5 stars as well. But like, this for me was also so clearly 5 stars that I thought both of you would give it 5 stars.
Yeah, but the thing is, my reason and my main reason is that the beat just gets me down too much. It really doesn't. I don't vibe to it.
Takes you to a point you don't want to go to.
Exactly. So, but the lyrics I love everything he's saying. But as a song with replay value, I'm not coming back to this as much as some of the other songs.
Yeah, I'd go as far as to say that this song is his, in terms of like lyrically, his best on the album. Like,
yeah, you can make an argument for that for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to step in. You see I didn't jump, Danny?
Yeah, it's good.
Step in.
But last song of the album, and boy, am I happy because this is how you do a heartfelt, introspective song about your life and your past. None of that other shit we heard before. The beat is cold, it's slow, and sad. It also has that like chipmunk sample in there, which works, like that high-pitched lamey. Sounds really good. And although there are no lyrics for a while in the start, I think it's like 50 seconds, I actually didn't mind it. Like, it's just a slow build. It lets you as the listener just kind of just feel your way into it. It gets you into that mindset. The hook is good as well. He doesn't try to sing, thank fuck for that. It's not as catchy though, but it is definitely relevant to his depression. And I think his bars here were really strong. Like the whole passage about his dad asking for a car, and then him crying and breaking down when he heard his friend got murdered. Like, this is the passion that I wanted to hear in 100 Bags.
Yeah.
Like, when I talk about a heartfelt song, for someone to claim 100 Bags is a heartfelt song about his mum, when he talks like this about his own depression and talks about, friends dying and his dad, this is what makes me doubt that 100 Bags is genuinely 100% a heartfelt song to his mum. Because when I contrast this and that one, they're on completely different levels. He's taken the time here to make sure that you've got the time to just kind of get into that mindset. It's so sad. It's so raw. And like, it just didn't feel that in 100 Bags. And he has that other line, yo, God, what's good? I need you bad. Devil's in my ear. I need you back. Got scars in my soul. I've been attacked. Even when I'm low, I seem relaxed. But then years been mad, I lost my way. They think I went ghost to drop my tape, not knowing that I fell and lost my faith. Like Satan, please no, not today. So fuck this shit, this ain't a joke. Like he's talking about a time where he literally lost everything, including his faith. And like, as much as I'm not particularly interested about faith, it's interesting and it's heartfelt, and I can see how it would be like a traumatic experience when there's a time in your life where you grow up devout and then you lose it, because you think that, like, you know, your life is so bad or that you can't see the positives. So I think this did what 100 Bags didn't in every way.
Yeah.
Having said that, I agree with you, Danny. It doesn't have replayability to me. I don't see when I would ever come back to this song because it is too sad in that way. That it's not going on a playlist. It's not going anywhere. This is a specific song that you need to be in a specific mood for. So because of that, it's 4.5 stars.
No, Matt is dying inside.
Can you see why I would give it 5 stars though?
Yeah. I can see why anyone would give it 5 stars.
Yeah. I'm going to start with a fun fact about this song. Didn't know this.
Fun fact for a fun song.
Yeah.
Fun fact. According to Genius, once again, executive producer Fraser T. Smith explained Lay Me Bare was finalised close to the deadline for this album. This is because Stormzy was reluctant about whether he wanted to talk openly about his period of depression on the record. So I imagine this was probably one of the last songs that made it there. So it's like, thank God it did though, because like it's definitely a special song that I feel like his fans or even just his listeners in general would be grateful for having on the album.
I agree. Can I just quickly say before you continue?
Yeah.
Also credit Stormzy for talking about something that is so, you know, especially, you know, in 2017, mental health is something that, you know, we're only getting better at understanding. And it's always hard for people, especially in the limelight, to come out and say the things that he says. So it takes a lot of courage, and that has to be respected as well.
Especially with like the image that he presents to the world of like being a hard, you know, gangster rapper most of the time.
Definitely.
You know, it's a big song for him, yeah.
And also, he's making a statement with it as well. Like to put this as on his first album, like this album has given so much of who Stormzy is or who he wants to be. So it's like it's just nothing but respect, nothing but love and respect for although I might not vibe with all of the content or all of the songs on this album, like it's like you've made a very brave and bold move by putting so much of yourself on your first album, because like that only leaves like you open to more praise or more criticism or a bit of both. So I'm all for it. Back to what I was going to say about this song. It's a personal and solid finish to the album that I absolutely love. Similar to the previous track, So Shut Up, there's absolutely it's absolutely worthy of 5 stars in my opinion. At first, like Aaron was saying, that mellow sort of instrumental that builds up is like so introspective, and like the combination again of the drum and the keyboards. Whenever there's a drum keyboard combination, I feel like it's like it gets me. I love that. It perfectly matches.
100% agree.
Yeah. It perfectly matches Stormzy's content, like his lyrics. Obviously, initially he struggles with depression, then relationship with his dad, and crime in London. All of this type of content, for me, I've said this in other reviews, it only brings me closer with like him as an artist and as a person. So by giving me opportunities to like share common feelings or experiences, that allows for connection. So that for me is what I want from an artist. I want to be able to connect with them on a more personal level. I'm not saying that I can with all of the content on this track, but it's just like there will be people out there that do connect with this sort of content. So like it's just a really thoughtful way of reaching audiences. So yeah, all for it. I also think Stormzy delivers one of his best, if not the best hook on the album. It's relevant, it's meaningful, and I get what you're saying about it being wordy, but I find it catchy because he does this really interesting thing on his hooks, and whether it's him saying them or another artist saying them, I'm not sure if he has had control over this, but have you noticed that when he says a hook, particularly him, he will repeat it always 2 times. So he'll say it once, and then he'll say it again, and then he'll go into the verse. I'm not sure.
I think that's I don't know. I think that's actually like more of a grime thing. Repetition in grime, I think, happens a lot.
Okay, because I was like,
but I could be wrong.
Well, at first I was like, is that just a common generic thing that all artists do? But then I was like, hold on, I've seen this throughout the album. He'll say the first part of the hook and then literally repeat it again. I'm like, that is so clever, because even if it is a little bit wordy, it sticks in your brain. It gives listeners a chance to remember the hook. And that's so important, because it's often either the beat or the hook that stay in your mind, unless they're like mind-blowing lyrics. But usually I would argue that it's the beat or the hook that like have you singing or bobbing along to it in bed, like while you're like not listening to music, or even when you wake up the next day. So I thought that was really cool. I wrote for like this review, so this particular song so much. My favorite lyrics. So I chose two lots. I did an Aaron here. The whole chorus, like the first, not the repeated part, just the whole first part. I love all of that. I'm going to say it one more time. I'll make it clear. This is the shit I hate to share. So he's obviously like apprehensive about saying like this whole song. Escape this life or pay the fare. So is he going to just end it? Is he going to like say that's it, I'm done, or is he going to like pay the toll or deal with all this like heavy shit that's going on in his life? Is he going to pay that fare? Grab this gun and aim it there, shoot my pain and slay my fear, get rid of it all. Before I die, I say my prayer, relating obviously to gang signs and prayer. Don't worry about the mess, just lay me there. So like that's so visual. Like after I've shot myself and there's all this mess just on the floor, like my brain just blown out on the floor. Like, don't even worry, just leave me there. Like, or like, don't worry about like all the issues that are going on. Like they're not affecting you. Like these were my issues. I don't blame you for anything that I've done. This is just me. This is my mess. This is what I'm dealing with. So like, don't like hold yourself accountable for my actions. I think that's, just really deep. So I had to put those lyrics in, and that's unusual. I feel like I don't usually say, the chorus is my favorite part of the favorite lyrics, but then I can't go past these either. This is savage. This is in the second verse, and fuck letting go, I'll keep the pain. 20, 30 years, I'm still the same. When you hear this, I hope you feel ashamed. Can we were broke, like what the fuck? Mum did well to hold us up, but yet she still forgave your ass. But Mumsy's cool, I'm cold as fuck. Like, I love that. It's like he's showing his like, how there's that saying, forgive but don't forget. It's like he's disregarding that. He's like, I'm not forgiving and I'm not forgetting. Like, you fucked up, you did the wrong thing, and I'm not going to be as forgiving as other people in your life. So like, it's just really like blunt and really like raw. It's raw emotion. And I wonder in years to come if he will reflect on that and go, maybe I was too hard, or maybe he won't. Maybe he's going to stand by that. I don't care either way. I just think it was cool that he was so open about his opinion of his father and how he treated his family. Finally, I like how, and this is one for you, Aaron, I like how Stormzy finishes this album. He finishes the album, not a feature.
Agreed.
Like, and he couldn't finish it in a better way, like with that hook, because that ending, like, don't worry about the mess, just lay me there, and then it ends. It's just like, for me, how I interpreted that was, or what it represented for me, was him giving every single thing he has for this album, for this project, and leaving himself completely open to praise and or criticism. So it's like, I've given you everything that I have for my first album, and this is it. Lay me bare. Like, don't worry about whether you like the mess of it or you don't. Like, if you find songs that you can vibe to, great. If you don't, whatever. This is me. This is who I am. And that's it. I just thought that was really cool. I also liked how, similar to you said, Aaron, at the start, it's like the music sort of leads you into the song, and then in the end of this song, the music leads you out. It's not like an abrupt finish on those lyrics. It just lets you think about, or like sort of absorb everything that song just offered you, and just sort of reflect on the project as a whole. So yeah, just absolute respect to Stormzy for this song, and to finish with this song, and for the album in general, I think.
Yeah.
Jesus. And that is why I went first. Don't want to follow that shit. Yeah.
Like you touched on some things I think that Danny and I would both agree with, but yeah, I still will go back and just say, despite all that, I don't think I'd listen to that song again unless I was specifically in the mood for it. It's a very specific mood.
Yeah, I get that.
It doesn't go in the playlist. You can't. This is not a song where you're with your boys and you just chuck it on. You're driving, and then it's just too real.
Yeah.
Like, because I rated 100 bags, 5 stars, but that would be similar to me. I'd put that in the same category. Like, it's a really lovely sentiment and like tells you so much about Stormzy as a artist and as a person, but I probably wouldn't put that in a playlist over First Things First or Shut Up. Like, yeah.
Well, what I'm really interested about is your final ratings in this, because it feels like this has been an up and down album.
Yeah. Who wants to go?
I don't know. I think
I'll go for this.
So here's the thing.
I'll go.
No, I'll go first.
Okay.
I was joking. I just don't have much. The only thing I'm tossing up between is like, I did Matt's formula thing, and the album came out to be like 3.5 stars.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's too high for the way I feel about a lot of the songs and just the structure of the album and I just feel in my heart like it's a 3-star album. Just because the things I really like, and the things I don't like, I really don't like, and there's a lot of the things I don't like.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm gonna jump in on there. I'm not going to say my point, but I'm going to relate to what you've just said. So, Mike, your old mate Mike, C-Town. It's so funny. Like when I watched it last night, and for Aaron and myself, I don't get a clear representation of someone from Dead End Hip Hop. But for Mike C-Town, it's literally you, like just in another person. So he said that he was like, when he heard First Things First, as well as he loved Cold, he loved Big for Your Boots, although he had a little crack at the accent of Boots, how he says it. Like, you got to watch it. It's funny. He's like, "Big for your boots." He's like saying it. He's like, but like I think he said it in like a endearing way. But like he basically said, what Stormzy gives me here, in terms of like the content that I absolutely love. He's like, I would like absolutely listen to like the rappity rap, the hard stuff. But he's like, as for the sing-songy stuff, it's just like I don't listen to that. I don't ever want to hear that stuff. So it's like, I can't get down with that. So he's like, but for what he does do that I do like, I love. So
yeah,
it's almost like
that is basically my opinion. That is Mike C-Town's opinion. He's put it, and you've put it better than I did. That is what I think.
Yeah.
So what'd you give it in the end?
I think I'm gonna. It's tough. I'm gonna give it 3 stars.
Yeah.
Which is weird because I gave Chez Noir 3 stars.
Yeah.
So I don't know how I feel about that.
I
don't know how go on.
I feel like you're leaning, you want to give it 3.5, but then another part of you is like, oh, just like, I'm not feeling right, especially when there's so many sing-songs in here that I would just not listen to. So it's like...
he just makes a lot of choices that I don't like is the thing.
Yeah.
And going through this review with both of you, it's like, the contrast between the gang signs and the prayers, it's too big. It's too...
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to hear what you guys think.
Well, I might jump in and use my catchphrase. I agree with you, Danny. There are too many fluctuations here between the good and the bad.
And the ugly.
And the ugly. The good, the bad, and the ugly.
It's a good movie. Good movie.
It's a great movie.
You haven't seen it.
Oh, got me. I thought I'd make myself seem cultural. But the way I can sum it up is by album structure. It feels like it's two separate albums. It just feels that way. That there could be an album that's Gang Signs and an album that's Prayers. And if they were individually together constructed, it would be better. But we go from banger to slow and melodic, to banger to slow and melodic, to banger, slow and melodic constantly. And it frustrates me to no end because there's no consistency. Where's the transition? Where's the kind of thematic change? Like, it frustrates me to no end.
Yeah.
And I've never given 1 stars, but I gave 2.
Yeah, that's big. That's big.
And ordinarily, I would agree with Danny and give this 3 stars. But because of the structure, because of there are just some weird choices, like interludes, the songs, and just a 2.5-minute skit, just so many different things in the construction of this album. Blinded by Your Grace Part 1 is another one that just annoys the shit out of me. I can't forgive poor album construction and 1-star tracks out of 16. There's heaps that I disliked, probably half I didn't like, and half that I did. But because of that, I'm giving it 2.5 stars.
Damn.
Because, like, if you look at the tracks, they dead even average 3 stars. But then if you look at album construction, you got to minus points for that. So that's 2.5. And I did not feel comfortable giving it 3. And I know it's less than Chez Noir, but at the very least, Chez Noir doesn't waste time with some absolutely trash 1-star tracks.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
However, if you said to me, would you listen to Chez Noir's album again or would you listen to this again? Granted that you can skip songs, I would 110% say I'd listen to Stormzy's and just skip songs.
I agree with that.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be listening to this album.
Yeah.
I'd be listening to like 5 songs.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, but that's fine.
Like, that's not listening to the album. That's not me choosing. That's just me. Like, if you gave me this album or Chez Noir's, I'd choose Chez Noir's because it's 24 minutes and it's not as bad. I can get through it quite easily. This has a middle run of such garbage. Like, you can't tell. Like, I know you don't want it to be less than Chez Noir, but I feel like that's biased. I just think that this was constructed poorly.
I would argue that he's a better MC than Chez Noir, though.
He is a better MC, which is why it's so frustrating.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm more annoyed, because the potential was way bigger. And had he delivered on that and had he made better choices, in my opinion, this would have been a better rating, could have been 4, just based on the things that I liked. But there were too many negatives. There were just periods where, like, it was just strange. And because of that, it's 2.5 stars. You don't get away with that because of your potential.
Yeah.
So what's your final rating, Danny?
I gave it 3.
3. Okay. Well, I do my rating. You know how I do my rating, so it's not like at the end I don't go, oh well, I don't feel like giving it this. Like, it's just based on the stars. So
it's set in stone.
Yeah, exactly.
It's gospel.
Yeah.
63 out of 80 stars on my rating. So that's 3.94 stars out of 5. So, yeah, 4 stars. Interestingly, there were 6 5-star tracks on this album for me. So that's quite a lot. So I'm similar to Mike Seatown. Like the songs that I love a lot and would listen. And, like, this album has made me want to listen to the next project. And speaking about that, you know how we didn't like the interludes? Well, maybe Stormzy listened to that because there are no interludes on his next album. It's all just tracks. So I'm not sure if that's going to have any impact on my overall enjoyment of the album. But yeah, I mean, if I was talking to someone who's never listened to Stormzy before, would I recommend this album? I would say yes, with the disclaimer, because I didn't have this, that you're going to be getting not just grime music, you're going to be getting some gospel music, you're going to be getting some sort of R&B music, you're going to be getting a range of different genres. So just be aware of that and be open to that. And then at the end of it, in a playlist, pick the ones that you love and just pop them in there, because you can always take away from any artist, any album, hopefully, certain songs that you would listen to again. And there are definitely...
Matt, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
You love theme, yeah, because you place a high regard on theme.
Yeah.
Now, I know you've given it a star rating, but where's the theme here? Where's the story? And if there's none, then how does that play into your rating? Because if you're not going to give it extra or you're not going to take anything away, then what's the point?
Well, I'm just purely rating it on a song-by-song basis, and then I just total it all up at the end. Like, I get what you're saying as an album, what would I give it? And I guess I was thinking about that then when you guys were both suggesting yours. I see, but that's the thing, I do see themes related to gang signs and prayers in this album. So it does, like, although it doesn't, I agree with you, it doesn't work in a really smooth, flowing way. It's almost like, rather than that, it's just sprinkled or scattered throughout the tracks. Like, I don't like that as much. Yeah, I would prefer a nice flowing album, and this is not that for me.
So I think this is my personal view on you've almost handcuffed yourself to a rating by being so strong on this is what I rate the song and therefore the album. Like, I think, and for me personally, it's easier if I just give an overall rating based on my feeling and don't let myself be shackled in by these, the ratings, because album construction is important when rating an album in the end. And if you don't rate it, like, you almost need a second rating for album construction, like another 5 stars for album construction.
If I was to do it that way, like, so this way I've done it 3.94, so we'll round up 4 stars. If I was to do it the other way, the way that you're describing, you're right. I don't feel super comfortable giving this 4 stars. I would lean towards giving this.
You don't give halves. You don't give halves, mate.
Yeah, I know. This is. If I wasn't to give halves, because I haven't been doing that previously, then the only move would be a 3-star album. That would be the only move, because I wouldn't go up. I would only go down.
But you feel so bad. Don't you feel bad saying that, don't you?
Yeah, I think if I'd feel more comfortable saying this is a 3.5-star album.
Yeah.
I'd feel much more comfortable, because there is a lot I like here, and enough for me to go, I will listen to your next project. But
deep down in your heart, and it could be the case, do you feel this is a 4-star album?
No, I don't. No, because I agree with what Aaron's saying. It's very up and down. It's very jolting at points. It's almost like he's just tried to give so much of himself and not focus on one particular area. It's almost like he may have been afraid that this could have been his only album and nothing else would blow after that. So I'm just going to give you everything and then see what hits and then go from there. So there's the risk of what we're talking about now, the risk of what has happened in our rating or our album review when you make that decision. So I am comfortable with saying, if I used Aaron's rating system, I would be comfortable to give this 3.5 stars.
All I'm saying is, the reason I do it that way, it's because album construction and ordering is really important, and theme is really important. Like, you have probably, out of all of us talked about Theme the most in all our reviews. So it's just, I kind of almost want to give you permission. I know you don't need it, but almost like you can tell, you don't have to like be stuck with the formula. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because you're saying in your heart of hearts, you're giving it 3.5 stars.
Yeah. Because like if I was to give like for the Sci-Hi album, for example, like Black History, like not even looking back on my like formula, that to me, if I'm thinking about it, would be, I'm going to give halves because I'm allowed to give halves, a 4.5 star album. And the Flatbush Zombies one would also be a 4.5 star album for me. Like the feeling of it. Now, I'm not sure if my formula got me there, but just thinking about the feeling, that's what it would be.
Yeah, because I think feeling is important, the feeling it gives you, because it is art, obviously. And like, yeah, I just think maybe for your next review, have a think about it. Do whatever you like. But I also like knowing what feeling it gives you. Like, it was interesting, like listening to you, Danny, that you were like, you know, it was 3.5, but I can't justify giving it 3.5.
Yeah. And like Matt said, you know, he'd be comfortable recommending this album to people. I would not feel comfortable giving my recommendation of this album. I would feel comfortable recommending certain songs for sure. Like I'd go, oh, you want to check out Stormzy? Mate, go check out First Things First. Go check out Cold. You know, you're going to love that shit. But I would never say you should check out this album.
Agreed.
Yeah. I guess it does depend on knowing who you're recommending it to.
Yeah.
And their tastes, their interests. Like if you were recommending this to someone who dabbles in a bit of grime, but also on the weekend goes to their Christian rap rock church.
It's a very specific person you're describing.
Then like you, and also who has like, you know, a soft like ladies man or ladies lady or
and has big toes and is 6'5". Yeah, I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah, 100%. So it's like, but doesn't that just solidify even more the point that we made before about this trying to target so many different people, like, and that's a part of the downfall of it.
Yeah,
like. But it's also at the same. It goes hand in hand. It's also part of the huge success of it as well, because the radio can go, I can take that song, or the Christian person can go, I can take that song, or the grime artist, the gangster, I can take that song. So it's like he has reached a lot of people with this.
Yeah, but if you that's the thing. If you even lean slightly towards one way or the other, if you even lean slightly towards gang related stuff, the other half it's already, you're not going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like he's already on the back foot.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's a slippery slope, isn't it? It's a slippery slope.
Aaron, do you have a phrase to sum up a sentence?
We need to do our favorite songs and lyrics first.
Yeah. I actually have a sentence for this one.
Okay.
All right.
But are we saving that for the end?
Yeah.
All right.
I'll tell you, my favorite instrumental was Too Big for Your Boots.
Oh, interesting. That was.
I really like.
Go on, sorry.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I was a big fan. And my favorite lyrics were Getz's lyrics when he's talking about that bloodbath and fuck that fist fight fair and square. Now fuck that flick knife wear and tear.
Yeah.
Now fuck that wearing. Yeah, he was my favorite.
I like that.
And my favorite song was Too Big for Your Boots.
What?
Oh, really?
Yeah,
so there was instrumental and song.
Yeah.
Well, I'm the same. I have both. I have the same for both as well, but it's First Things First. Best song, best instrumental, First Things First.
Interesting. What about...
And best lyrics is Lay Me Bare. The ones I said, man, I get low sometimes, so low sometimes, airplane mode on my phone sometimes. It's just too real.
Yeah. Favorite song for me was real easy. Lay Me Bare is my favorite song. But that's at the moment. But I chose that because I love the hook, I love the lyrics, I love the instrumental, so it was a no-brainer. I was like, that is a complete song for me. The instrumental was hard, real hard for me because Like, yes, there was First Things First. Yes, there was Big for Your Boots. Yes, there was Mr. Skeng. Couldn't really give Shut Up one because it was so like different and so like in a way basic. But the one, Return of the Rucksack was another one, but then nah, not really. My three that I was tossing it up between were Mr. Skeng, Big for Your Boots, and First Things First. And just for the epicness of it, I wish there had been a bigger drop. It was Mr. Skeng. My favourite instrumental. My favourite lyrics are, of course, from Shut Up. Absolutely, they're from Shut Up. Yeah, I'm the best. I'm so cocky. I've got a mob like ASAP Rocky. I set trends. Them man copy. They catch feelings. I catch bodies. Like, oh, so good. So good. And I love it. Like, when I say them now, I can hear Stormzy's accent. I can hear his voice. Like, and I like almost try to imitate it because it's so cool. Like, yeah, it's just, I was reading somewhere, or I was watching somewhere that over here, there's a heavy, I think it's Caribbean or / Jamaican, I think, I could be wrong, like influence in like English, African English culture. So the accents that we hear a lot of the time, just for a bit of clarification, yes, they're English, but they're also mixed with Caribbean or / Jamaican. I need to clarify. I think it's more Caribbean. But yeah, that.
Well, ting is so Jamaican sounding.
Yeah.
Saying ting.
Yeah. So I think to answer people about accents who say they don't like the accents, sonically I get it. Like, it might just not be a sound for you. But if you give it a chance and like understand where the accent is coming from, like, you might surprise yourself. Because I remember before I recommended this album, before I suggested reviewing it, I said that I do not like British hip hop. I do not like the sound. I can't stand it. When I used to hear it on the radio, I'd be like, turn this off. I don't want to hear it. But now, since committing to this like album and knowing where the accent's coming from, like its influences, and also just understanding some of the lingo, like some of the phrases, you can definitely, I feel, get into it. Like, if you give it a chance. Yeah.
I agree. It's not a usual sound, but if you can, like, it takes a little bit to get used to, but it's worth it.
Yeah. And once you do get into it, it is very easy to understand.
Aaron, do you have a favourite like British artist, or Danny? Is like Skepta for both of you your favourite?
I don't know enough for me to honestly say that I have one that's my favourite. I wouldn't feel comfortable going, that's my favourite.
Same.
Okay.
Like, I just wouldn't know enough. I have nowhere near the knowledge that I do of normal hip hop.
Okay. But both listened to Konnichiwa and we're both like, this was good, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember reviewing it like in depth. There were definitely songs I liked, but there was definitely songs that I was like, nah, skip.
Yeah.
They're just sounds that I didn't like, and probably wasn't accustomed to that grime sound, but there were definitely some that I still listen to. I just love that intro, how it has the just Japanese feel, and then it just goes hard. I love that.
Yeah. And Shut Down is classic.
That's a banger.
That is a classic, yeah.
I was watching that video, the music video for that song the other day, and like all the comments were like, oh my God, he predicted coronavirus. Because he's literally going through a shutdown.
Yeah, that is good, actually.
Danny, so what was your praise to sum up the album?
My praise?
Your phrase.
Oh, my phrase. Oh, you want my phrase? Matt, do you have a sentence?
I don't. I don't. It'd be off the dome, but I'd just say something like, Stormzy, innit?
I like that. Is a pretty good summary of the album, to be honest. Yeah. It is Stormzy. It is Stormzy in it.
Right, no, I'd probably go like, I'd probably say something like, oh, it's Stormzy in it, and then I'd probably be like, reppin' in
it. So my sentence, I'm pretty sure I came up with this like after the first listen, like straight after the first listen I came up with it, but I think it still applies. So my sentence is, to sum up the album of Gang Signs and Prayer, It's too built up now. It's not even good. All right.
Yeah.
My sentence is, give me one serve of gang signs, hold the prayers.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
That's good.
I couldn't even, because if I had to sum it up in one word, I'd say overrated. But,
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I love that. I'm going to use that. Oh, it's good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's a perfect note to end the album on.
Awesome.
Thanks for listening to the show. Please like, subscribe, and follow us on Instagram at @the_Slim Fitty Biggie Committee, and stay tuned for our next podcast. Bye for now.